Phoenix Down Radio is on the air. With your hosts,
Klaus Nightbringer,
Fair Kimono,
Chili,
and Luna Vox.
Welcome everybody to Phoenix Down Radio, episode number 68. How's everyone doing tonight?
a little bit sleepy.
Why are you so... Oh, I suppose it is late, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why do I have to ask that every time?
You never learn?
You're right, I don't. I'm a terrible person and I never learn.
The two are not connected. They're both true, but they're not connected.
It is a thing. Luna is taking another week off, so Luna, we hope everything's going well. We see you in chat. Hope you're having a wonderful day, Luna. And like I said, we can't wait to have you join us soon. We have guests today, guys. Joining us right now from the podcast MuseCastXIV, we have the one and only Emi. How's it going, Emi?
Hello, it's going pretty well today.
And Remix will be joining us shortly, so please look forward to that. Until then, Emi, how have you been?
You mean overall? Or just how have I been today?
However you want to answer that.
All right. Well, I guess in the short term, I've been doing pretty well. I'm really excited. Of course, I'm coming to you live from my closet, aka a recording booth, I suppose. It's been a good change, I think, though, from where I was recording before. So I'm very thankful for that. And yeah, overall, I'd say, things are going pretty well, pretty smoothly.
Well, it's great to hear. Like I said, there was a lot we're going to be talking with you guys about. You guys have been taking some time off from the whole podcasting scene. So we really look forward to hearing about your stories with that and, how everything has been progressing. But just kind of a little sneak into that. You recently moved. How are you kind of settling in?
Well, I moved pretty far, to be fair. I moved from Utah to Texas, and yeah, I miss Utah. I really, really do. I miss, part of leaving one place behind and going to the next is you leave all those friends behind, and you can, contact them through Facebook, but it's just not quite the same. Just as people make online friends within game, it's one thing, getting to see them every day, but it's another thing entirely when you get to meet them in real life. And so, I miss them, but in terms of, settling into where I am right now, because I've moved so many times, pretty, in short time frames, every year or so, really, I would be changing where I was living.
Oh, wow.
It's been, it's been all right. I've gotten used to moving around so long that it's pretty easy to just pack up and go, with the exception of course, all those friends that you leave behind. But the good part about this particular move was that I had to move for, full-time work. I was out of college. And the time came where, of course, I would have to, make my way in the world and pay things, pay rent like everybody else has to.
Fuck that bullshit.
Yeah, it's like parents aren't, paying for anything like that anymore. So I knew it was going to happen, and they didn't really have anything for me in Utah at the moment. So I came out here. But another reason why I came to Texas in particular was because I was, I voice act when I'm not doing MuseCast and when I'm not doing my day job. So in terms of long-term voice acting prospects, there's a pretty big hub in Dallas-Fort Worth. And even though I'm not in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Fort Worth?
Yeah.
I stayed there for 3 months a long time ago. It's a nice place.
Oh, really?
I was there about 10 years ago. I stayed there for about 3-4 months.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, so that's for a while.
Yeah.
What brought you down there for so long?
Why were you in Texas for so long, Chili?
basically, I knew a guy that was part of the Red Cross that was doing server maintenance, and their guy that's in charge goes on holiday once a year at the time, and so they asked if I'd come over and help with stuff while the guy was on holiday. So I ended up staying at someone's house and helped with like the Red Cross stuff for 3 months.
That's a
Wow.
pretty long holiday.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was fun.
I want a 3-month holiday.
Well, I was going to work every day.
No, I'm talking
Except
about the
for
guy
the
that you were,
weekends. All the
you were
time
helping
it
to cover
snowed
for.
was-
Yeah, the guy who you were covering for was gone for so long.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was gone for 3 months.
Yeah,
He
like I
does
said,
it like every couple of years.
Yeah, I guess I want to do that. Where do I
I
sign
mean,
up?
I guess maybe the thing is he just doesn't take any sort of vacation time during the years where he doesn't do this.
Yeah. I don't
That
know
was
what
my
happened. I
idea.
just enjoyed being in Texas for 3 months.
It must not have been
That's-
during the summer then, huh?
No, it
It's
was
so hot right
November
now.
to February.
Yeah, that's actually a
Yeah.
decent time to be in Texas. I visited Dallas in mid-June, and that was a mistake.
And yeah, it
Oh
was.
goodness, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, there was snow in
Yes.
Texas. Yeah, when I got there, it snowed. I knew when the
It
British
snowed.
Bear
It
said,
snowed a couple of times down here, but it's
Oh,
apparently a rarity.
How cute.
I don't know.
You guys had
Either
snow.
way, yeah, I know, really.
That's the white
I mean, I'm
aberration
coming
from the sky,
Utah,
right?
though.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Still sounds made up.
But,
I'm-
like where?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Where I was before though. I mean, it snowed a lot, so oh, it is cute. It snowed. How cute.
So, were you in the Salt Lake area?
Yeah, I was in Salt Lake City while I was there.
Okay, yeah, I've been there a couple of times. That's a beautiful area. I actually visited like Alta and Park City, and yeah, they have snow there in the middle of June still. At least in the
Yeah,
mountains.
It's so
Dang.
nice though. I love those mountains in Utah, and I do miss that scenery. It's very strange looking around and not seeing those mountains anymore.
Yeah, I'd imagine. I mean, it was actually gorgeous, being able to look out and see that. But then, yeah, not to see that on a daily basis when you're used to it. Yeah, I can imagine it's quite
Just-
striking.
Maybe a little disorienting in some ways. Just like, wait, like this is the thing you use as a landmark. This is the thing that stuff's based off of. Where do you align off of without that? Like, I've always lived in places where there's like mountains nearby, and so the few times I've been to places where there weren't any inside, it's like, what do I use as my landmark when I'm orienting around the city?
We used the river, so
I'll be honest, the first time you said Utah, I thought you said older a couple of times. I had to just make sure.
I said Utah. I have actually mistyped Utah as like Utah.
I mean, they're both deserts, right?
Yeah, they are, but like I think Utah gets a lot more snow than Utah ever would.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just around the Starlight Celebration, I want to say.
But
Yeah,
that's-
and even
that's
then it
still
doesn't stick.
fake.
You know what? Yeah, that reminds me of like, how if you go to, I don't know, I've seen videos of like people visiting Disney in the wintertime and they have like bubble snow.
I
That's
was
what I imagine as like there's snow in Uda. They just like make bubbles and it's just these little
Right.
tiny bubbles coming down.
Well,
So it doesn't really stick.
I
They
figured it
got
was
thaumaturgists. They can do ice spells.
no. It's an alchemic thing because they do have
joint
the
venture
the
of-
alchemy guild
Joint
there.
venture of Arsneth Ossuary and the Frondale's Frontistery.
Yes, something like that.
Well, if it were an alchemical thing though, wouldn't you see some sort of machine like dispensing the snow?
It's very well hidden.
They
Or it
use
could be
magic
like
to
little-
hide it.
And you could do it like little alchemical frost bombs or something. Have it do a endothermic reaction, do rapid cooling in the area. I could totally make this work.
I've
What-
got an idea. What if, those snowmen that are hidden around?
Mm-hmm.
What if those are those machines?
There you go.
What if they just hide it behind the dancing cat girls and nobody notices because of that?
I would notice. I think I would still notice because I do not like those dancing cat girls.
Still.
I do like that they dance though.
All right. Before we continue on with talking with Emmy, because I don't want to get too far ahead of it before Remix joins us. We had a contest going for the past 2 episodes. saying if you would retweet the episode out on Twitter, we would give away some, I always forget the name of it, the Mega Flare emotes to people. Well, yesterday we actually had a lot of people decide they wanted to retweet that because, well, I hadn't told anybody about the contest except for in the podcast. And then once I said it publicly, we had everybody who wanted it. So,
Yeah, I mean,
amazing
this gives
how
us
that
some
works.
interesting info about where people are listening and when. I know
Exactly.
I often stock up a bunch of podcasts and listen to them in a row.
Yes. But because of the overwhelming support we've got from that, we got 22 people who retweeted that. And because of that, I said, let's give away 2. So we're going to pick 2 lucky winners tonight to win a Mega Flare emote.
Oh,
Can I
man.
enter this?
Unfortunately, not anymore. The entry period is
Aw.
closed. Sorry.
That's all right. I'll buy it for whatever Nanamo I decide to put it on.
That's the
There
only
we
thing
go.
that sucks.
Imagine Nanamo doing Mega Flare.
Oh God! So now she's Bahamut.
Yeah, because she already knows how to do the Diamond Dust emote.
Bahamo.
So, what do you think of this, monetarists?
Bahama.
All right, let's do this kind of in a fun way. Emmy, pick a number between 1 and 22.
Between 1 and 22, you say?
Yes.
Let's choose.
Integer numbers, please.
What answers certain numbers?
Integer.
Whole numbers.
Oh, integer. Okay,
Yeah.
integer numbers. So I can't choose like pi or anything like that.
No.
No.
But pi is a good number. Very tasty.
Pi is like totally overrated. E and phi are way more important.
But pi it tastes much better.
Oh my god, I can't even, Klaus. I can't even.
Let's choose -4. Can you do that? So let's make a
Hang
4
on,
from the end.
But that's not
That-
between 1 and 22.
Yeah, -4 is modulo equivalent to 18.
Yeah,
you
let's
said
make
one-
it. We'll make it 18. Go 4 from the end, so we'll make it 18.
Wait, no. 0 would be
Is it?
equivalent to 22, so -4 would be equivalent
Let's
to...
just go.
Oh, yeah, 18.
And actually
Go 18,
between.
yeah.
Oh, so you want
It's
number
18, Klaus.
Let's choose
Yeah.
18.
Okay, 18.
They're modulo equivalent. Learn to discrete math.
No, I don't want to. At Pipteru, what is the winner of that one? Let's see if I can find what their name was in. I just wrote down their Twitter handles. Scrolling all the way through. Oh, it's Pipteru. Is at Pipteru. So I will be sending you a DM, Pip. When you respond to that, I will send you the code.
I hope you're a Lalafell. That name sounds like a Lala name because of Taru.
Yes, they better be a Lalafell, otherwise I'm going to be disappointed as well.
Oh,
follow
yeah.
me, and I
Klaus
think-
is going to be sliding into your DMs.
Giggity.
If I'm
that
right,
always-
they're a cat. I think they're a cat girl. They follow me either way. Hello, Pip. I hope you're doing well.
And then when
Like-
Remix joins us, we'll have her pick another number.
Okay.
I figure that's a fair way to do it. I mean, otherwise we just
I
would
think
normally
so.
do, random number generator or something like that. But
Oh.
and it looks like she's going to be ready to join us here soon. Sarah, can you jump up to the green room and check her sound? You
Sure
requested
thing.
that, please. All right, so let's talk a little bit of news then while we wait. This one, it seems very important. Between April 30th and May 17th, the MOG station is going to be undergoing a number of little maintenances. They're going to be working with their monetary processors, like the credit card companies and things like that, to make sure that everything is up to date. So not during that entire time, but at random times during that period, you may or may not be able to purchase things from the MOG station, pay for your sub and things like that. So make sure to monitor that if your sub comes due during that time frame, and make sure that it gets processed. If it doesn't, make sure to try and reprocess it or contact Square Enix support if you're having issues. So make sure to monitor that for the next couple of weeks.
That is important. I didn't know about that at all.
Yeah, because I don't want anything like what happened with other people, especially Remix, to
Yeah.
happen
Oh,
to
goodness,
anybody.
yeah.
Because that's the biggest issue that I'm concerned about with this particular maintenance is how many people are we going to get that are going to be have like chargebacks or something not go through, or their character's not going to be available because their sub didn't reprocess because of this maintenance.
I'm really tempted to buy a time guard.
I am too, actually.
That may be a smart decision.
So if you're concerned about that, and you do a standard subscription, you may want to increase that to the $15.99 a month subscription and buy a time cards, because unfortunately you can't apply those to the $12.99 sub. I learned that the hard way. All right, we have a new gear design contest going.
Ooh.
This time we are going to be able to design the physical ranged and melee DPS design, or I can word today, gear sets. And it's two separate contests, so you can actually enter for one of each of the contests if you want to do one for the Bard and Machinist or for your melee classes. So
I'm surprised that that's the same for like all of the melee classes versus range, because you have so few ranged.
Yeah, well, and the thing
We've
is,
already done caster.
There's actually 2 sets within the melee DPS. If you think about it, there's the Dragoon set, and then there's everybody else, basically, really.
Yeah, see, that was what I was thinking. Are they choosing 2? Are they choosing 2 winners for that?
You got your Dragoon, and then you got your Ninja, and then you got your Monk.
But Ninja and Monk can use similar gear, can't they?
No.
Huh.
That was only when Ninja first came out, so they didn't have to make a complete set of new gear. But
their gear sets are the same, just different colors.
I guess, but they're not the same stats.
No, it's different sets, but they look the same. They're just maybe different
normally
colored.
look quite the same. Yeah.
Whereas Dragoon is a very different looking one.
Yeah. Well, Dragoon looks more like the tank armor.
Yeah, so I'm surprised that they're including that in there.
How many winners are they picking for that then?
Well, there's going to be one grand prize winner for each one, for the ranged and for the melee. And then there's going to be a number of runner-ups. The grand prize person is going to get their entry within the game eventually, as well as a bunch of in-game items. And then all the runners-up are going to get that in-game item pack, which includes things like the Noble Barding, the Mandragora choker, the Bluebird earrings. They're also including the Galacap cat as well.
Yep.
Oh, I love that Galacap
cap. How's that? The Galacap cat.
That is so cute.
My waifu got so close. He got so close to getting that when he was at FanFest in the cosplay competition.
Oh yeah, because that's where that one came from, wasn't it? Initially.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was where it first came out. And so he and his dad both went as Hildebrand and Godbert Manderville.
Oh,
if
that
you
was
remember
them?
those, that was them. That is Scoot's
them.
waifu.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, that's my best friend and his dad. And so they got really close, and I think he was a little bit salty that he didn't get that because it was super cute, but he got the Noble Barding. So, there's that, and now we both have matching Bardings.
Yay.
Oh.
Yeah, I happened to get my Barding from the Heaven's Dub contest.
Same here. I got one from the Heaven's Dub contest, and then I got another one from the Ranger posing screenshot competition.
Oh, nice.
So Balmagnanimo, I think it's Balmagnanimo has it, and then Scoot has the Noble Barding too.
Cool.
I still have never entered one of these.
Well, you should, Chili, because they're fun.
They are fun little contests.
I never seem to do very well in the screenshot contest, so I worked really hard on the one for Starlight Celebration this year. But then everybody else had to copy me with the snowball throw and...
Well, a lot of times the ones that are announced are North American only, so it's very rarely the ones I can enter Europe.
Well, they have there was a couple of European ones as well, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there's a few, but this one's European as well. But
this one does include NA and EU.
Yeah.
And I believe JP.
Yeah.
Just not Quebec.
So it's all regions?
Yes.
Yeah, except for Quebec.
Yeah. because nobody
For
wants
Quebec. For
Well,
Quebec.
it's legal reasons.
Yeah, they have rules against contests in Quebec.
Basically, if you win a random luck competition, you actually have to then do like a quiz to actually get your prize.
A skill testing question.
Skill
Thank
test.
you.
Yeah.
I thought it was from. Yeah, I knew it was from someone. Seth.
Uh,
That was it.
If you win,
Uh,
a lot of people just get around it by like asking like what's 1 + 1 or like a super duper
Yeah.
easy question
That's
to the
basically
winner.
how it goes.
And fun fact, the law says nothing about whether you have to actually answer the question correctly.
You just have to answer it.
Yes.
You could answer it banana.
Thank
Yes.
God, because I'd be like,
And
one
they would
plus
be
one,
like,
okay.
congratulations,
Oh.
you answered the skill testing question. Here's your prize.
But for
Like,
some
this
reason,
was-
Square Enix decides not to do that.
Their legal department seems to go a little bit on the let's not take the risk side, which I understand why, but
Yeah. But it's kind of weird and kind of slap in the face because if you remember, for the longest time, the NA
oh my god, I
servers-
hate that phrase. Klaus, I love you, but anytime someone says that something is a slap in the face, it's like, wham! That is a slap in the face!
Well, see, I know you can't do that, so anyway, as I was
Damn it, you're not coming to FanFest!
No, I'm not. Anyway, for the longest time, the servers were in Quebec.
Well, sure.
So
But what does that have to do with anything?
I just think it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Isn't it ironic?
No. I mean, she's also from Canada, but no.
That too. All right. So I'm not good enough to draw or design any of that gear, so I won't be entering. How about you guys?
I can't draw either. I cannot draw for my life. I know I have a lot of artist friends, but unfortunately my sort of artistry is not in the drawing department.
Yeah. I've been providing feedback on other people's silhouettes and other designs, but yeah, I'm not going to ever be making one of those.
I already have the only outfit I will ever need coming in the next patch, so I'm good.
You have a Star Spangled Subligar as well?
Yeah, I have that, and then I also will have my male bunny outfit. What else do I need?
Oh. That's right,
That's
you're not
it.
Peach.
But you can't wear a Star-Spangled Subligar and fishnets.
That is true. That would be something that would be nice. Also, I don't think I can dye the Star Spangled Subligar. That would be nice. I want to dye it gold.
It would be nice, but
So what you need then is the bunny outfit, but change the actual like subligar or not the subligar potions. You know what I'm talking about. That area.
The crotch?
Replace that with the Star Spangled Subligar, but then make it dyeable and make that portion, the subligar portion, the dyeable part.
Yeah.
But keep
you
the
know what
bunny
they
tail.
just
Keep the bunny tail.
what they just need to do is bring back the underpad slot.
There was an underpants slot?
back in 1.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1.0, there was like a undershirt and underpants slot.
What?
There were only a couple things that could go in them, and you could not de-equip them. Plenty of people tried.
Yeah,
Actually-
there was only a couple of pairs of underwear, wasn't there?
Yeah, like if you look at, for instance, the hempen camise.
I'm sorry, I just can't believe that was a sentence I was able to say.
Yeah, we live in miraculous times. But yeah, something like the hempen camise, that was the undershirt for female characters. Came in a
Anyway,
couple different colors and things like that. But yeah,
anyway,
so if you stripped off all of your clothes, you would be wearing that.
sorry to interrupt, but we have another guest joining us finally. Remix Sakura, thank you so
Woohoo!
much for
Yay.
taking the time to join us tonight. How are you doing?
I'm not 100% sure I'm actually here.
I hear you.
So,
Or are you,
like,
I hear
is that a
you.
metaphysical question?
yeah,
or-
that's a metaphysical question.
Well, it is a
Look.
widely shared delusion, so we're good.
All right,
Okay,
so
I
let's.
have that
So
issue every
are
time.
you Schrodinger's remix then?
Oh my god, that's not what that means either!
No, but
No, that's not what that means either. I mean that, like, as much of me as possible is here right now.
Yay. Well, we're
That
glad
is
that
a philosophically deep statement.
So, have I mentioned that I'm chronically ill? So it's, there's that. So that's my excuse.
Yeah,
well, that's fine. I suppose
sometimes you just don't have spoons.
at this point, we can go ahead and go back to the interview then, if you guys are all right with that. We were kind of waiting
I'm
on
all right
a
with
lot
that.
of that until you got here, Remix.
Oh man, such pressure.
No, it's fine. So Emi told us a little bit about her move and how she's liking it so far. We haven't yet talked about the stress though. So, you know, like you had said, you moved for a full-time job, but I understand that the job that you had moved for is you're no longer there. So you ended up having to
Right.
get a different job. You know, how stressful was that after just, you know, going through the move from Utah to Dallas?
You know, I wouldn't say the job searching process really was all that stressful. But the first job itself and really getting the courage to quit, I think that really caused a lot of stress in the first place.
Mm.
This job that I initially came out here for was one that I had previously had some experience in on like a part-time basis when I was over in Salt Lake. But when I got to Texas and I took on this particular position at this particular place, like it wasn't what I had expected. Where in my past position I had a little bit more experience, you know, actually doing live sound. In this one, it just wasn't, and it was a lot more physically demanding than I thought it would be, especially doing, doing what I did for 8+ hours a day, sometimes 6 days, 7 days a week, and it got to the point where I realized it wasn't a good fit first off, but then there was a lot of pressure, I think, from my family, especially, who were like, you need to carry out this commitment. You should go through your entire trial period and see what it's like. And,
Ugh.
I had told them, after a couple of weeks, like, okay, I've tried it. I thought that I would improve in some of these aspects, but I get home every day and I'm just so incredibly tired from this work. And there's
Like-
no way that I can schedule like any other commitments.
It's like, what do they expect to change?
Yeah, like not much changed. And so I would complain to my friends because clearly, talking to my family just wasn't really an option. And I found that talking to people, like Remix, like people within the Crucible, if you're familiar with them, I would talk to them about this sort of thing, and they were a lot more understanding, where, my family had sort of fallen short in this respect. And like, I understood where my family was coming from, but I also, I had my own feelings to consider. And so actually it was a Remix among some of the people who, really allowed me to make that step. Remix was telling me, it's okay. This happens a lot in this day and age. And, I wasn't sure about it. But after I had left this job, which wasn't, everything that I had hoped it would be, there was just this sense of liberation, really. That was the best way I could put it. It was just, it was nice.
Yeah, the
A weight
job
had
market
been lifted.
isn't like it was for our parents. A lot of times, in that generation, the generation before, you would find a job and you would stay there and you would retire on that job a lot of times.
Oh man, just show some gumption and ask to speak to the manager and make them take a resume.
But nowadays,
Ugh.
people are, switching jobs quite frequently because, they're looking for better fits. I don't know, it's hard to explain it, but it's not the same as it was, back in previous generations.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot different. And
People
so
are moving more
thankfully,
too, so.
yeah. And so thankfully, like, because of that strength, like, I was able to, finally move on and really take things into my own hands, which, I think for a lot of things, especially related to adulting, I hadn't done. And it was something that I really, really wanted to do. Actually, it's a little funny because at this point we were getting, into 4.1, and, looking back, I realized maybe I've made a little bit of a similar change that one of my muses has made, that Nanamo has made here.
You liberated yourself like El Amigo.
No.
You
And I
decided to turn that salt into something valuable?
Actually, yes, I did.
There we go. See, I can metaphor people.
But so the good part about this though was one of the jobs that I had been considering right around the same time that I had even started applying for the job that I was in previously. They finally got back to me and said, "Hey, we think you might be a good fit for this." And as it turned out, it was a great fit. It was definitely worth the wait, even though it took 2 months, 3 months for them to actually come back from an interview and say, "Hey, we think we found a spot where you can work and what you can do based on your own strengths." And so, not only do I have a place where I'm not quite as physically tired, a place where I have a lot more flexible schedule, but I love what I do, and this job in particular just has allowed for me to return to doing things that I also love, like podcasting and like playing FF14 and role playing. I still have a lot of responsibility, make no mistake, but it's different. And that difference has allowed for a lot more freedom.
It sounds like a win-win-win.
Definitely, yeah.
So glad to hear that that it's working out for you. Like I said, it takes time to really settle down and get back into a state of normalcy when you have that type of change. But we're glad that things are coming around on your end, Emi.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm super glad too.
So
Yeah, every job should let you have a life. There's no
Yeah.
excuse.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes it's hard to find that, but depending on the type of job that you end up working into, some of them they're more difficult. Like either you're on call, or like if you work for a hospital, or if you work for the police or something like that. There's a little bit more of a commitment on something like that. But a lot of jobs, yeah, you should be able to have more of a regular home life away from work.
I mean, I guess I would say it never should be something where you feel like you're forced into that situation. If you choose it, if you decide, hey, I want to work more, bring in more money, and maybe do a bit less of this other stuff, and like you're actually choosing that instead of just being forced into it by the situation.
Right, I agree. And because I didn't really feel like I had that choice, it brought about a whole lot of stress. And I think were I not in that, or were I still in that job that I was in before, I don't think that I would feel, as great as I do right now. Like mentally, emotionally, I would be just so completely drained from this. And so I'm very glad that I was able to have this opportunity to, be able to bounce back, that I was able to make that choice. So, if I've heard a lot of people seem like they're in similar situations, and it's occasionally very, very tough to get out of those, but hang in there, hang in there.
Most definitely. Now, Remix, you have had a very different situation in having to take a break. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about what happened?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I mean, I of course wonder how much the audience out there really, really cares about, my personal life. But
You'd be
I'll
surprised.
tell it.
Say what you want to say.
I'll tell it as a teaching story, and I'll get to the TLDR first. So since about June 2017, so we're talking, coming up on a year now, I started suffering for no apparent reason, after coming back from a trip, some weird sickness, physical symptoms, and never really got better to this day. And the chief among those is extreme fatigue. I mean, really, really extreme fatigue. I mean, imagine the feeling where you wake up in the morning and you haven't had any coffee and you're really groggy and you can't quite think straight and you can't quite walk straight and you kind of shuffle around in a daze. You know that feeling?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if that feeling never went away.
Ugh.
Ever. All day, all night, for 10 months. Imagine that. To an extreme case. There's been good days and bad days. And after seeing a whole host of different doctors, and this was way past have a little bit more coffee. When I tried the caffeine route, it actually made things worse and brought me down a path where I had to get an endoscopy because I might have had an ulcer from drinking too much coffee.
Ooh.
So, warning on that front. This is not a minor fixable thing. This, it's gotten more and more serious. So, I spent the time between June and December seeing every sort of doctor out there, because what sucks about fatigue is that it is a symptom that can come up from a variety of different conditions, and not many people really knew about it. I know there are definitely some days when I inconvenienced Emmy by scheduling one of our recording sessions and then being like, oh my god, I'm so tired, I don't know how to do this. So I would reschedule, or even if I would get through it, I would be so tired afterwards, I would just go immediately to sleep. And, I tried everything, sleep disorders, it's your endocrine system, thyroid, anemia, chronic fatigue. There's a lot of things that can be symptomatic of fatigue. I never got any answers, and it was months and months and months and months. Meanwhile, my condition was getting worse and worse and worse. And slowly but surely, the things that I was able to do in my life decreased steadily. From I can't work, I can't do my job, I can't even work from home, to I can't make my own food, I can't shower, I can't shower because I can't stand up for 20 minutes. Really becoming a total invalid. At my worst, probably in bed like 18 hours a day, and not necessarily sleeping, but either sleeping or in some kind of haze. So definitely suffering something very, very serious, but that had no explanation and that no doctor could answer. And it was not, completely unaffected by caffeine. Exercise was out of the question. When you can't even stand up straight, how can you exercise? None of the typical stuff was working. However, the other funny thing was that I was also on this time on treatment for ADHD, which had been, pre-existing to all of this. I'd known for a little while, not too long, not long enough, that I had ADHD. And so for context, I'm 31, almost 32, and ADHD is one of those things that you have for your entire life, but everyone assumes is a condition for 6-year-old boys. So being diagnosed as an adult is not an uncommon thing. It's sadly common. I was kind of a kid in the age before it was a trend diagnosis. So that sort of complicated the situation, because I'm literally on stimulant medication, and I can take Adderall and then not, and then go pass out. That was even stranger. However, it did mean that I was seeing a psychiatrist at the time for that treatment. And, it was pretty much under control, except that it's hard to know how good your concentration and your focus is when you can't think straight for some other reason that you don't know. However, one day I changed psychiatrists. I was unsatisfied with the old one, went to a new one, and said, yeah, I've been in treatment for ADHD, but I've also had this fatigue problem, and I have a couple of other problems related to it. Kind of a random assortment of symptoms that would definitely stump Dr. House, or at least make him go to the whiteboard. And after a couple of sessions with the new psychiatrist, he said something that struck me as both shocking and unbelievable, yet so obvious that I wondered, how I hadn't noticed before. He said, I think that all of your symptoms can be explained by anxiety. And I'm like, really? You're saying that anxiety is making me tired? It's like, yeah, anxiety makes you tired. Anxiety pumps adrenaline through your body, which wears you out. You know, that's a very common side effect. I mean, it's a bit more complicated for me, but
it's like, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Like, my understanding is like it's kind of this physiological response that under quote unquote normal conditions, it's supposed to be a quick thing to get you out of a dangerous situation. And if it's something that's running like full time, it does unhappy stuff to you.
Oh boy, yeah, it did some unhappy stuff to me. So after I got that new frame of mind, so the doctor said, so until our next appointment, I want you to notice that if there's a correlation between feeling tired, feeling especially tired or getting a bout of tiredness, and feeling stressed out or worried or anxious about something. And lo and behold, the connection was almost instantaneous. And by that time, I had a lot to be anxious about, you know, like not bringing money in, like being behind on everything from MuseCast to work projects, to opportunities that had fallen behind because I didn't have the brain power to read my email every day or make phone calls, you know. And I certainly, you know, it's like life had fallen apart, so I certainly had a lot to worry about, and I hadn't realized. Actually, but you know, now I know that when I get you know, a sort of like bout of like, oh god, you know, kind of anxiety, within seconds my eyes close, my head goes cloudy. It's almost instantaneous, the connection between anxiety and fatigue. And it's almost counterintuitive because most people get kind of nervous energy, but for me it's different. And if it's a really, really extreme situation, a lot of anxiety, or even like, you know, the worst of the worst, a panic attack, I can faint, I can pass out, and have many times. So it's a dangerous situation. So going down this path really kind of opened my eyes, and it was really kind of shocking because it ended up being at the heart of everything a mental health problem. But the additional problem is obviously there was a physical component to it, honestly, which I honestly still haven't fully solved. I still don't fully know why, you know, the anxiety response, the fear response, the fight or flight response leads to suddenly being tired and wanting to take a nap. But going down that route made me discover a couple of other things. First of all, it's really important, I think, also for the audience to know. Everyone in the geek community really thinks of themselves as really well educated on mental health, you know, because I think that, you know, to make a generalization, a lot of us suffer from some form of depression or anxiety or dysphoria about something, and that's why we're attracted to fantasy. We're attracted to geek communities where everyone's kind of weird. So I think it's probably more prevalent in our sort of communities, or, you know, somebody. However, you have to understand that there's an enormous difference between something like generalized anxiety disorder, which is treated by one class of drugs, and severe anxiety disorder, panic disorder, and things like that, which are treated by an entirely different class of drugs, which are the kind which you sell on the street or take at a rave. You know what I mean? Like some serious drugs that you can get addicted to, but you need them because, like, you know, you got to take the equivalent of fucking horse tranquilizer sometimes to stop a panic attack where your heart rate is 150 BPM.
Wow.
You know? So going down this route, I discovered many other things. One, that not only was this caused by anxiety, but I had a severe anxiety disorder. It was not something where I could take, you know, an SSRI and be fine. I had to take some serious medicines I won't go into specifics, but of the class benzodiazepine.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
I know what that means.
Benzodiazepine includes things like Valium, Xanax, Klonopin, among others.
Yeah, those are very, very. Yeah, you don't mess with those.
Yeah,
they are not the first thing one tries.
No.
Yeah, they weren't the first thing I tried at all, but it became that serious. It became this is how we're going to prevent you from having panic attacks. Two, I learned that I was having panic attacks and had been for years. Now, there's even more misinformation out there around what is a panic attack. So much so that I'm going to have to take a drink before explaining it.
Yeah. There's a lot of this stuff where people are like, oh, I'm a smart person. I can work it out. Let's just look at what the name is or something like that. It's like, no, it is more like other fields are more complicated than that. You cannot say it's easy because it's something other people do.
Yeah, it's a really extreme experience that's kind of really hard to convey or explain to someone who's never experienced it. But I realized that I was experiencing them regularly, like almost daily.
Ooh.
And had started to have them probably years ago. For example, a couple of years ago, I took a short stint where I moved to California from my hometown of New York City, to which I have since returned. And around that time, looking back, I had at least 2 panic attacks while driving. Now, my panic attack symptoms include things like shaking, trembling, extreme headaches, but also the need to self-harm in the sense of like hitting my head against something, which is ironic because you have a headache.
Yeah, I've been there.
Like collapsing, of course, like almost instantaneous fainting, either like screaming or crying or mumbling or talking to myself. It's really like temporary insanity. It's real insanity. And, of course, the extreme heart rate. To give you context, the normal resting heart rate for a normal adult is between 60 and 100 BPM. Once you go about 100 to 150 BPM is like you're taking a jog. Above that is like most exercise zones go up to like 140. And during a panic attack, I would go maybe up to, I think my record was 167 BPM. And this is while I'm sitting still. Yet I have the heartbeat of a marathon runner or of like a sprinter. And that's not good for your heart.
No.
And looking back and saying, wow, I had panic attacks while driving. Gee, what if I had lost control of the vehicle? Because if I'm not in control of myself, I'm not in control of the vehicle. What if I crashed my car?
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a scary thought.
It is.
And I mean, the physical symptoms of panic attacks for everybody are different, but there's one sort of rule of thumb that I use because it made the whole thing click for me. It made the whole thing real for me because everyone has different physical symptoms, but one common trait that I think everybody with like true panic attacks, not that I'm here to judge other people's mental health, is an overwhelming feeling that you are going to die. You literally feel that your life is in danger. You feel so much fear that you feel like you're going to die. The thought keeps going through your head, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, my life is in danger, I'm going to die. And the fact that your heart feels like it's having a heart attack and your blood pressure may go up doesn't actually help because, to your body, like that makes sense. And to put it in context, I've actually been in physically life-threatening situations. I've been attacked on the street twice in my life because, well, I'm female and I live in New York City and occasionally ride the subway home at night, and apparently that's life-threatening. I've been in situations where I've been attacked on the street by strangers and like my life was actually in danger. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Those experiences were less scary, way, way, way less scary than having a panic attack. Having a panic attack is 100 times less scary than being tackled to the ground by an assailant on the street at night. And somehow the fear in your head is worse than any fear that ever happens in reality.
Yeah. And that's one of those things that, again, like, if it's happening in an appropriate situation where your life actually is in danger, yes, having that flood of those hormones, having all that stuff going through, it sucks now, but it's going to get you out of the bad situation. But if it's happening all the time, it's not doing you any good, and it's causing all this damage for no benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if you are in an actual, real, life-threatening situation, your survival instinct kicks in. You know, you assess the situation, you just say, what can I do? I actually came out of most of those situations unharmed because I did things where my survival mode kicked in. But if you're dealing with a fear of something that isn't actually there, that's in your head, you can't get out of it. Your survival mode doesn't kick in, and you just collapse in fear.
It's like, I'm going to die, and things are perfectly okay, and there's nothing to actually be done because nothing bad is happening, and I'm going to die. It's like, there is no actual solution here.
Yeah, so you just kind of lose your mind temporarily and do stupid things.
And here's what I've heard from like other people with anxiety disorders. Like, I've never experienced anything, relatively, even close to what I imagine Remix might be going through right now. But I've heard some people with anxiety disorders just like, if they try to talk to other people about it,
it's hard to get people to understand.
Sometimes it's hard to get them to understand, and sometimes like people may respond with, "Oh, you just need to calm down." But from what I hear from Remix's story, it sounds like that may not be the case. It's not just as simple as you need to, calm down. In your mind, it's just a life or death, situation, and that's it.
Has anyone telling other people to calm down ever actually made them calm down, like, ever?
No, it just makes you more stressed.
Yeah, I think it has the opposite effect.
Mm.
With the side effect, with the side of, oh my god, that dick.
Yeah.
But then again, has anybody saying, telling somebody to freak out, has that calmed them down?
A little bit, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I would
It's
just,
like-
You know to freak out, so you calm down a little bit because you know that everyone else is stressing out.
Yeah, you do your freak out, you get that out there, and then it under regular circumstances, it's a physiological thing that like you do the stuff and then it dies down. Like, I have actually had people tell me, it's like, okay, go ahead and freak out for a bit. It's like, that actually helps.
It's like, do what you need to do.
Yeah. And don't be a dick to other people.
yeah, and it kind of lets you know that it's okay to freak out. So back to the whole heart rate thing, right?
Yeah.
Around
Let's do that.
around the time when my insurance denied me for a sleep study for fucking stupid health insurance reasons,
Fucking, ugh.
I went and bought one of those wristband devices. I don't want to endorse a particular brand, but one of those wristband devices that tracks your steps, your sleep, your heart rate, and other sort of vital activities.
And they fit just right.
As a yes, and they're rather bitty.
Yeah. And they send those bits. Yeah.
Yes. So that's how I learned that I was having these extreme spikes in heart rate. Now, I went back to the fact that I learned that the normal resting heart rate, meaning like doing normal activities, not physical exercise or any sort of exertion, is between 60 and 100 BPM. And I learned from several months of wearing this wristband that my average heart rate was about 115.
Holy.
Like all the time. And it was actually confusing the device so much because it thought that I was constantly exercising. It thought it's like you spend 8 hours a day like in the fat burn like cardio zone, and I'm like, no, I've been sleeping all day. What are you talking about?
Not according to this.
But the bits are never wrong.
Yeah, because, well, for a typical person, yes, if you have that high of a heart rate, then it probably means you're jogging. And then actually through another, third-party service, I was actually able to get more detail, such as the extreme spikes, that sometimes would only last for like 2 minutes, but still, this is a serious problem, and it was enough to be diagnosed with a heart condition, tachycardia, which means persistently elevated high heart rate. This typically only happens to people with heart disease, high blood pressure, but it was happening to me because of adrenaline, because I was under the near constant influence of adrenaline. Adrenaline being like the fear hormone, the what gets released when you feel fear. And like I said, if I had been really suffering for this for years and suffering panic attacks for years, that meant that I had lived with this for so long and gone untreated for so long. I actually was also diagnosed with another heart condition, angina pectoris, which just means your chest hurts. My chest hurt. I have a lot of chest pain, and to get a little bit of a humorously TMI, the magic wand, everyone's favorite personal massager. Right, because it's like the most powerful. Like any female, I own one of those, but I started using it to massage my heart muscle, like the left side of my chest. Because I get, if things are really bad, I get extreme pain or like muscle aches in the left part of my chest, just above my heart. It really kind of makes you worry. And all of this together means that because of my mental health, because of untreated mental health problems, I was killing myself. I was dying.
That's crazy.
My physical health was deteriorating to the point of my most vital organ being permanently damaged. My heart is damaged forever because I had years and years of untreated anxiety.
Yeah, that's sad to think that.
Like, if that's not enough to show people that mental health is serious business, I don't know what is. And that's why I'm telling this story in so much detail, because really, everything's different for everybody. I don't want to diagnose anybody or scare anybody, but please, whatever you have, go get checked by like more than one physician or therapist, because if you do have something really extreme, you could die, because I could have died while having a panic attack in my car. I could have died while having a panic attack in public and being near a bridge or a tall building. I could have died by having a heart attack. Had I not, started taking for one of the medicines I started taking, treats these heart conditions and is usually given to people with high blood pressure or heart disease. But I have to take it to keep my heart rate low, among many other medications.
One thing that strikes me about it is until that one doctor made that one comment, it's just like, okay, a lot, like the physical symptoms you were recognizing, but a lot of the mental symptoms, they were just like, they were your normal.
Oh, yeah. I really think that looking back, and by the way, you got 2 new followers, so this sob story is getting you some popularity.
We're actually being hosted by Electro Skateboard, who's one of Twitch's
Whoa, electrical
bots.
skateboard!
So
Hey,
this is actually going out to like 145 additional people, so this is good stuff, and I wanted to make sure to share this.
Yes.
Hi, people.
Thank you for listening to the story of my extreme anxiety disorder.
Like I said, it fits because, like I said, we're all gamers at heart, and we realize that we all have these issues that we deal with, and a lot of times we put off our mental health because we think it's no big deal, because that's what society tells us. But I want you guys to really listen to Remix's story and realize that mental health is just as important as your physical health, and we want to make sure that you're not taking it for granted.
I want to add on to that I know a lot of people do stress about the cost. In the United States, pretty much every county or parish in some states has a mental health line. Their goal, like their entire thing, is to help connect you with resources, therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists who offer sliding scales where the amount they charge is based on how much you make. It's based on your ability to pay, sometimes going all the way to free. So like, it's like the people who do worry about the cost, I understand why, especially when money's tight, everything starts seeming like an unnecessary indulgence. I do want to let you know that those resources do exist.
Exactly.
Also, if you live in England, we also have those types of resources. So don't forget to check. You can always phone. There is always someone to phone.
Yes. So on a more happy note, you starting to find, the issue, and you're starting to work with your doctors to do what you can. But now you're coming back and you are actually trying to get back into what you were enjoying, and that's playing video games and podcasting. So, what are your guys' plans moving forward for MuseCast?
Well, to be honest, I mean, I wish I could come and say on the show, I'm here on Phoenix Sound Radio because I'm all better, because I've been treated, because I've been cured. That is not even the case a little bit. As you can tell by my lateness, I am still quite sick. And I would say that things have gotten better. I have more waking hours in the day. I have more ability to do things. Some of my gardens may have died along the way because I couldn't keep track of them all. But I definitely want everybody to know that I'm not better. And that's the reason why we haven't, scheduled the next episode or, released the New Year's skit that, is, I'm still going to name it as the Heavens Turn skit just for, shits and giggles. But why that still hasn't been released. We are pushing ourselves. I'm pushing myself really hard this weekend because it's MuseCast's second birthday. And MuseCast is our baby. And I'm not going to miss my baby's birthday. That's why I'm pushing myself really hard, even if it means like I have to drag myself out of bed where I just was
Well, I mean,
before we got here.
Make sure to take care of yourself still.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like there's
Thank you for
a
being on.
certain amount to push yourself and there's a certain amount to relax. But like, I just want everyone to know that like this isn't a victory dance. This is an ongoing struggle. My appearance on the show is not because I'm better. My appearance on the show is because I'm too goddamn stubborn to miss my baby's birthday. That's why. And to show everyone that we're still here. We're not dead. We made it to, like, we are 2 years old because we're still alive. We didn't die prematurely as infants.
It's like, oh God, it's your baby. Like, this metaphor took a dark turn.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, make no mistake here. We definitely do want to continue, making episodes and things like that. But, I've had somebody who has been affected by mental illness, and when an illness isn't necessarily, caused by, germs, bacteria, something like that, it's not as simple as a flu virus. It's something that you may end up managing for the rest of your life, like ADHD is. And so, we do have a lot of things that we want to do, but we've got to manage podcasting with all of this. And, no matter what we end up doing from here on out, we love podcasting. We really do. And we want to bring things out as best we can, but obviously I don't want to put too much stress on Remix, just as, when it came to my work situation, I didn't want to, record when I didn't have the energy to record and put out what we wanted to put out as it to like the standards that we usually have. So I guess that's where I see myself, or where I see us going from here is, we want to continue podcasting.
Oh, yeah.
We aren't dead. We are not dead by any means.
Oh yeah, and that's that's why we wanted to have this birthday celebration. And Emi is absolutely right. This is not a condition that will ever be cured. The ADHD, the anxiety, these are for life. I'm not going to cure them. I'm going to manage them, and I'm going to get my life back, because nobody wants to get my life back better than me. Like, this is not a fun, like most people think of a sick day as kind of like a kind of a fun day off. Like, I'm not resting, like gaming in my pajamas all day. I'm just horizontal doing nothing, or being in a daze. And like, I don't play FF14 much. I haven't done any of Patch 4.2. And I don't have any idea how excited I was for Sigmascape. I was off the chain excited for Sigmascape. And I haven't played Sigmascape at all. Like, that's how extreme it is. Like I log in, like I do like my gardening because I have so many gardens. Even then, like as I couldn't keep up with them, and some of them died, and you know, maybe I'll do like jumbo hacked pot. I don't run content at all. But I just log in when I can to make sure the plants don't die, basically.
And do some socializing.
Yeah, kind of, you know, let people know that I'm still alive.
That's good.
You know, because my FC, you know, they miss me too. But you know, as I move forward, you know, part of me is getting better, like little by little, day by day. But part of me also has a lot of, honestly, resentment for the mental health profession. And while I think that everyone's first step should be to see a doctor, to see a professional, there's been a lot of flaws in the system, and I don't know who to blame, you know, for this. You know, the overloaded doctors, you know, the uncaring doctors, the stupid doctors. But realize that I was in treatment for ADHD, so I was seeing mental health professionals for years, and none of them seemed to realize that I had severe anxiety or panic attacks. I feel like they all failed me. And I was like, I had a deadly, dangerous condition, and none of you motherfuckers noticed, ever. Like, none of you asked the right questions. And I feel a lot of anger at those people that let me like go so many years having panic attacks and not noticing. And I have to be careful going forward, because I cannot depend. No one can depend on pills alone, especially if they're benzos. You know, you cannot just keep taking more and more benzos. You will get addicted. I'm already at that point where I'm like, you know, at the limit of some of these things. They're like, you cannot have any more, because you will be a drug addict. You've got to change your lifestyle kind of holistically, you know, which includes, you know, whatever you need to do, getting enough sleep, getting enough good sleep. My Fitbit also tells me my quality of sleep, which is sometimes really, really crazy. You got to eat the right diet. And by the way, the right diet is different for everybody. Like, don't let anyone tell you that like one diet is the best. I can't exercise right now because of the heart stuff, but I can do stretches maybe. I've been trying to like get a yoga channel that isn't total bullshit, but some of them are just so new agey and you know, you can use natural supplements, dietary supplements, but you know, as a supplement to everything else. But don't be like fucking Steve Jobs and try to cure your cancer with kombucha. Like, you have a medical condition, you know, combine your medical treatment with other treatments.
Oh my God, he even had the money to pay for proper treatments.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to do your own research. I happen to be extremely, extremely privileged, and I'm going to probably make a point to thank him on every single show that I'm on. But my husband, who is known as Glassy Cannon on Gilgamesh, and I eventually got to play with me in the game. Hey, 10 would recommend having a gamer spouse. He's the kind of person that's smart enough to read scientific papers, and he's done things like he read a scientific like Journal of American Medicine paper on the half-life release of Adderall XR, and he understood that shit, where most of us would just be like, what is going on? And he showed that to my doctor, and he's like, this is the and like, because we were trying to figure out why I was crashing on a very specific schedule, and it had to do with the dosage of Adderall that my doctor had prescribed me. And he went up to my doctor and be like, you fucked up. And I'm not a doctor, and I figured out that you fucked up. You know, and that's happened like many, many times. Many, many times we have gone on the internet and found research and realized that my doctor's fucked up.
Yeah, like, you know, a lot of people think of them as like, oh, they are these medical gods. They are people with their own prejudices and their own idiocies and their own chances of completely skipping stuff and not paying attention to something or not taking it seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I know it sounds hypocritical to say go to a doctor first, but don't trust them wholeheartedly. I mean, they are professionals and you should take what they say seriously, but don't be afraid to do your own research. Just it's sort of like striking a balance. There's also the option if it's available in your city, within driving or travel distance of you, get more than one opinion from different doctors. Don't trust them completely. Try and do your own research. I mean, I feel just way too lucky to have a husband who literally does reads medical papers on my behalf, because my case is so tough and so complicated that even after 4 or 5 months of treatment around anxiety, I'm not totally better. That he's my Dr. House, except less ornery, he's the one that goes in and goes on the whiteboard and thinks of every possible cause for everything. And I think that, the most fictionalized thing about, House MD is it fools you into thinking that every doctor does that for you, that every doctor goes in and thinks about your case off hours and tries to figure things out. They don't give a shit about you after hours. You go in for the appointment. Most doctors, you go in for the appointment, they talk to you for 10 minutes and then they forget about you. They either don't give a shit or they just don't have the time because they have so many patients. So at some point, try and do your own research and take things into your own hands, because I want to also understand why everything I'm putting into my body, what it's doing to me. Even if I'm not a biochemist, I want to understand what's happening to my body on, as much as I can. Because sometimes what a doctor tells you, I always ask them why. Why are you making this recommendation? How does this medication work? What is its mechanism of action? What does it affect? Because sometimes, for example, at one point, the doctor said, if you're still feeling tired, why don't we put you on 15 milligrams of Adderall? And I'm like, did you forget when I was on 20 milligrams, I had extreme up and down crashes? Why do you think that giving me more Adderall is going to help? He's like, well, you're still feeling tired. And I'm like, we tried that already. Think of something else. Did you forget that all happened? Come on, it sucks, and I know that it's going to frustrate people when they say go see a professional, and that professional sucks. And the availability of resources is going to vary a lot by where you live. I happen to live in New York City, but that doesn't mean that a psychiatrist is easy to find. Most of them have months-long wait lists because we're all crazy here. And if you live in a rural area, I mean, you could have one psychiatrist within 50 miles, and then the next one's 100 miles over, and you're driving your automobile. Can you do that? I don't know.
Some services have actually started to look into the possibility of offering therapy online just to try to increase that kind of access, because it's a real problem.
I'm surprised there isn't more telecommuting type of
it's a lot of it's still in the works, but it's something that there's interest in because of this problem.
Well, I did try 2 online therapy services at first, but the problem was that there are root causes behind my anxiety, which will be in my autobiography one day. I'll give you all the tell-all book, but I know the reasons behind them, and those therapists somehow didn't really get it. For example, I think that one reason why I was never diagnosed with anxiety is because the psychology textbook definition of anxiety is you're worried about the future. And for me, it's never been worry about the future that has been anxiety triggering. It's worrying about the present or the past. For example, just to get a tiny bit personal, an example of something would be worrying about a current situation, oh God, I'm so behind on editing this thing. I'm so behind on releasing that flyer. I'm so behind on getting that press release out. I'm so behind on this. I don't worry about the future. Actually, ADHD people have this trait that sort of a weird sense of time. And I trouble imagining in the future. I've never, ever, ever worried about the future. I worry about the past. I worry about like feeling guilty over past things or present things. So because I didn't fit the narrow textbook definition of anxiety, no one ever thought I had anxiety. You know, for some reason, I couldn't get it through any therapist's head that you can worry about other things than the future. Like most people think, oh, something bad is going to happen, something bad is going to happen. It's not always that. Something bad has already happened, you know, or like something bad is literally happening right now. How do I deal with it? Like, it's not an irrational fear. This is actually happening, but how do I deal with it?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Definitely. So, like I said,
I know that was a really, really long rant, but there were points I wanted to make and teaching opportunities that I wanted to get out there.
And trust us, we do appreciate it. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. It's that extremely personal information, and it's kind of a harrowing story, but we do thank you so much for sharing, and we're glad that you're working to try and control it, to try and figure out what's going on, and move forward.
Even if you're not fully better yet, as you said, it sounds like you're doing better than you were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And I'm just way too stubborn to you know, excuse the pun, take this lying down. But I want my life back. I want every part of my life back, even my job, even my work. I want to do that again. So there's so much of my life that has been taken away by this condition, from gaming to podcasting to cycling to going out to board game nights to, you know, leaving the house, riding the subway, you know, making my own food, being able to shower without, you know, one of those like grandma chairs.
It sounds like something that just ends up taking away so much.
Yeah, I mean, it does. And I want my life back more than anybody. I want all of it back. And I try to think positive. I try to fight every day. And as consolation, you know, once it's managed and I can get back to doing awesome things, you know, I'm not kidding about that tell-all book. You know, I will absolutely write a scathing indictment of, you know, the mental health community and how it failed me. And maybe the Times will pick it up, and I don't know. I mean, people have gotten book deals off worse, stupider things. So I'm like, I'm getting the book deal. I'm doing the keynote speeches. Like, I'm going to tell this story on behalf of everyone else who has anxiety and can't speak, because I'm one of those weirdos who has extreme anxiety disorder, but loves public speaking, you know? You know, like, I'm still a podcaster and I still love speaking. So I want to get revenge on my anxiety. I want to be like, look, anxiety, you're going to make me rich. You're going to make me famous. You're going to make me money. I'm going to take my anxiety all the way to the bank, and that's how I'm going to get revenge on you. And
Spoken like a true Don.
Yeah. It's sort of that's what kicks in the fight response, because I don't want to have the flight or faint or freeze response. I want to have the fight response. And that's, you know, and, you know, much like some of my muses, anger is my motivating factor, and I'm way too stubborn.
Sylvanet, I was actually going to say that. Make anxiety your bitch.
Yeah.
But
very,
no,
very
seriously,
much so.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And how about on a happy note, we had Emi pick a number between 1 and 22 to help to choose a winner of one of the emotes from our contest we ran. I would like you to do the same remix. Pick any number 1 to 22 except for 18.
Integer numbers only, please.
Pick -18.
And this is to pick an emote for what purpose?
Well, what this is doing, this is picking the winner of a Mega Flare emote.
Oh, what is my favorite number? 17.
Okay, so 17 and 18 are our winners.
Well done.
Well,
Right next to one another.
Bro, Hamit's going to be very
I
happy.
was a big fan of those
Oh man, he owes me one.
Yeah, he
Okay,
does.
He owes me one.
So congratulations to
man.
Bro Hamit and Pip Taru for winning the emotes. I will be sending you guys messages after the show. And like I said, once you guys respond to those, we will get you those codes. If you don't respond in 24 hours from that point, we'll pick another winner.
Actually, I had an interesting poll idea, which I may run on Twitter tomorrow, right before our official birthday party at our own Twitch channel. And Amy, tell me what you think about this.
All
I
right.
want the viewers to cast a spell on us to help us through these hard times. And I want them to pick an ability from both of our mains, Paladin and White Mage. So let's take a poll to see which ability that the viewers cast on us to help us get through it. Is it going to be, and for White Mage, I'm going to pick Protect and Benediction. And pick two from Paladin. Like
Paladin.
Passage of Arms or Protect or Cover or Hallowed Ground.
Definitely Clemency is going to be one of them.
Okay, so Clemency or like Passage of Arms or Cover, like which would you pick to have them cast on us?
Man, you guys picked very different abilities than I would have picked.
To help us through. Man, I'm tempted to say Hallowed Ground and Clemency, if only because you get immunity from everything.
All right.
All right.
And you get that heals.
All right. So as a 4-choice poll, all the viewers that are here, hopefully supporting Musecast and not just here to watch Klaus and these emotes. By the way, the Wind Up Gilgamesh emote, the Wind Up Gilgamesh emote was meant to represent our home server of Gilgamesh, but he's not positioned correctly.
He is bowing to me. I like him.
All right. So
Wow,
if you're here to support us, pick an ability from both of our mains, White Mage and Paladin, that you would cast on us. So pick either Protect, Benediction, Clemency, or Hallowed Ground. Can you run a poll for us, Klaus?
It would take a bit, but
Sarah would like to suggest writing candidates of Total Eclipse and Holy.
I would have gone with Request the Cat and Holy Spirit.
I don't think that's how that's pronounced.
It's not Requested Cat, but I can't really pronounce it either. It's like Request.
Request a Cat? I can't
It
even say it properly
has
now.
to be a support ability. Holy is an offensive ability.
I maybe am kind of a dick today.
See, I could do
Kind
a
of.
troll move here and also nominate Circle of Scorn, but I don't know how that would work. I don't know how that would help us. That's
Circle
just
of
like,
Scorn is how paladins throw shade.
Well,
yeah.
on tomorrow's stream, we can do all kinds of fun polls. So we can do all kinds of fun polls we want, where we can do like Circle of Scorn or Holy, which is bitchier.
wow, TweetDeck doesn't let me do the polls, so today we learned.
Throw it in the trash.
Aren't you using Streamlabs,
I thought you
formerly
wanted.
Unkbot?
Well, I thought you wanted a Twitter poll. You said
Oh, I thought you were using Streamlabs.
we do have Streamlabs, but yeah, I haven't really used it for much of that.
Oh man, come on! You were the one who taught me to use bots, and now I'm better at bots than you.
The student has become the master.
Okay, you can do it. You can do it on Twitter too.
Like I said, TweetDeck.
And then,
doesn't
but we're
allow
gonna run
us
the
to-
same poll on Twitter, and we're gonna see
Alright.
what the difference is.
Well, let's see if we can get it going here.
But if you can figure it out in the Twitch chat, let us know. I just assumed you were the master, but apparently that was a bad assumption to make.
Ouch.
Oh, Circle of Scorn right here.
You aren't a paladin though. She isn't a paladin.
Could have surprised me. Wow, I am apparently in a mood today.
Oh, I can just use
It's
this. as
good
the
though. I
Twitter
like
one.
this. I like this.
So how did you want that worded again?
We got 2 White Mage abilities, Protect and Benediction, and 2 Paladin abilities.
Not Circle of Scorn.
Clemency and
Hallowed Ground.
Clemency and Hallowed Ground.
Hallowed Ground.
I
Which
don't
would
know
you?
that Hallowed Ground fits, but like that's the best thing I can.
Well, it
come
gives
up
you
with.
immunity. I mean, it would help you. It gives you immunity from
Yeah.
shitty jobs.
I
For 6
personally
seconds.
would vote for. I'd vote for probably Clemency.
Yeah, because
one,
Hallowed
Paladin
Ground, you can.
heals.
I was
Hallowed Ground,
always
you always
partial
have
to
that little
Bulwark.
bit of lag in between when you press it and when it happens. So you
The
still
poll
die
should be up
anyway
now.
sometimes.
And I won't
For
protect
those
you
of
from
you using
enrage.
Streamlabs, you should see a poll option pop into the to that bit. So
I always like Bulwark because then you get all of the shield oath gauge.
all right. So speaking of items that we got from the Mog Station, talking about the giveaway we just did, a bunch of new ones were added to the Mog Station recently. Were those from the Chinese servers?
Yes.
Yeah.
More items based off of the Journey to the Journey to the
Not-
West.
Ish.
Wasn't that a character from that?
Which one?
I can't remember the pronunciation of the name.
Oh, no, I don't think that's actually a character from Journey to the West. Hang on. Let me check this.
Neja.
Yeah.
Nazha? Is that what it is?
Neja.
Hachu?
Nasha.
Ugh. God,
Naja?
what? You're one of those people that can't. You're one of those people that can't pronounce Yansha. I bet.
Not very
Probably.
well.
You mean it's not Yangxia?
Oh my god.
You telling me it's not Yusuyu?
You mean it's not
Oh my
Raban?
Oh my god. You mean pinyin Chinese is a thing? You mean you
Anyway,
can Romanize Chinese?
what do you guys think of the new mount that's available?
You know,
Oh,
I,
my-
if my Larafa wants a flaming Segway.
I'm not
No,
sure.
It's a hoverboard that caught on fire.
It's a flaming Segway.
It looks cool on Lala's. I have a friend of mine who had gotten it, but I don't know that it'll work on my particular characters. Just because both of them are like sweet, precious cinnamon rolls. But I've heard some people complaining about the price where it's like $24, I think, or 20,
Yeah,
23.
The mount is
24.
$24, but it is account wide.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's account wide, and that's the same price as the other account wide mounts. I
Mhm.
think like Bennu, for example, was also $24. So I don't see why people are complaining about that. Now I do see a reason why people might complain about like the $18. Like it seems like the prices for outfits are creeping up, and the prices
Yeah.
for single mounts where it only applies to one character, that's creeping up, and the emote prices. That's where I'm most salty about. The emote prices have climbed up from usually $3 to $7 per emote.
Yeah.
But as far as this particular mount, I'm not particularly like mad about the prices, like because the other one that was account wide was the same exact price.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
So that's
Sleipnir was
fine with
a
me.
little
I just won't get
expensive
it.
too, and Fat Moogle is a $28 mount, but that's also a 2-person mount. So I mean, it is fully
To
optional
be fair,
items.
though, I think I'm gonna say the more expensive mounts, well, most expensive outfits seem to be those that have come from the Chinese server. It could be a licensing thing because that game is actually done by a slightly different company than the normal team that makes Final Fantasy 14 for us. So it could be that,
So I mean, yeah, it could be a thing where the people who are developing that are requesting additional fees. You're
a
right.
little bit of a fee.
So-
for it.
For those who are interested, so Nesha, I'm totally butchering. He's actually a protection deity from Chinese folk religion. Those wheels are his traditional means of transport. They are called hang on, I have the name here. The wind and fire wheels. It's associated with this deity, and actually showed up in a lot of other games. But kind of like how we had the Eastern Journey stuff that was based off of Sun Wukong, this is something similar for one that's really stayed more in China and hasn't made it out here as much.
No, I'm actually thinking that the pronunciation it would be like Ne Sha,
I'm not sure. I cannot actually
Well,
read.
where the
these characters.
ZHA is one syllable.
I'm not an expert, but I'm thinking like Neja. Like it's sort of like a Z, but somewhere between a Z and a J. But I'm not an expert on pinyin. I am actually it was funny. I was trying to look at Yansha and I was like, I think it's something like that. And then I was in voice chat and one of my FC members is Chinese Canadian. And we were talking about how much we love the music, and she's like, "Yeah, I love the music in Yansha." And I was like, "Okay, if she's Chinese and she pronounces it that way, that's probably correct."
Okay,
I'm gonna go with
that. That's about what I had been going for, so I'm kind of pleased on that. Oh, and one other person calling
Ask
here
a
is
Chinese person.
Yeah, Nella's said about the.
Oh,
Hang on.
one person comments that those wheels is essentially, think of it as the Chinese version of Hermes feather shoes.
Makes sense.
Interesting. I'm liking all these cultural ties. Like,
By
I
the
don't
way,
know if it would count as like appropriation or not, but
It's kind of on a weird line. I don't know.
By the way, someone in our Twitch chat, Nell Celestine, said the outfits are higher priced due to the fact that they were region exclusive, and those were the prices that were set in that region.
Gotcha.
So rather than
Okay.
being unbiased, that's why it's a bit more expensive.
Also,
Goddamn exchange rates.
can I get the male version? Because I do not need to show that much midriff or thigh, thank you.
Unfortunately,
Can I show that much on my male character?
We have
All
to,
clothes should be no clothes should be gender exclusive.
need to wait about 2.5 years for them to make the opposite genders version.
Dude, I'm still waiting for being able to wear the nose coat. That
I'm
coat
still
is so
waiting.
awesome.
I'm
There's a
still waiting
field
to wear
doc.
my wedding dress.
Okay, wherever it gets in line, then you have to wait 2.5 years once it's in there. Anyway,
There's like
I'm
a field
hoping-
doctor glamour I really want to wear, but only guys can wear
Moving
because
on.
it uses that coat.
I
Sorry.
want to wear the Nanamo hair and outfit, but that may be 2.5 years from now.
I'm losing control.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You've lost-
Okay.
Moving
you
on.
never had control.
Moving on. Let's.
One more
yeah.
quick thing to discuss. I know it's 2 weeks ago, but they did release the digest for Live Letter 43. And they talked about the things that were that are going to be coming. We got a few of them right in our wild speculation on that last episode, but there was a few that we were way off on. I liked our idea for the ultimate battle better than what we're going to be getting personally.
By the way, they have announced the next live letter.
I don't even remember what our idea for the next ultimate was.
The training right here. The
Was it like
the Warring
ultimate
Triad,
triad?
Oh, that would have been cool.
right?
I am okay with this one just because, like, the original Ultima Weapon fight was such an epic thing
Mhm.
that, like, I am glad that they're gonna they could still make it that because Ultima Weapon, like the Ultimate version, maybe it absorbed all the primals.
We'll have to see which ones it actually
That'd be
takes
cool.
in.
Like, load it up with like 12 primals or something. That would be kind of absurd.
Load it
Ultimate
up
weapon.
with
Now we've got King Moogle
Oh gosh.
I want to go to there.
If Ultima does have a Muglamog phase, I would be legitimately surprised, but that would actually give me like a legitimate reason to try and get into Savage content again.
That would give me nightmares.
Dark, gritty Moogles. Moogle Noir.
Maybe Muglamog should just have its own ultimate, like
And-
encounter.
And Nell says all of the bits are different Moogles.
And it forms up to be one giant Moogle ultimate weapon. Yes, I want that now.
Suddenly,
help us
this
all.
lacks a certain amount of gravitas.
Anyway, by the way, there's a new live letter coming.
And when did they announce that one for?
May 11th.
Oh. So I wonder if we're going to hear about FanFest at that one.
Maybe. But there's going to be a special guest. I'm going to butcher his name, so I'm very sorry for everyone that's listening. Yasumi Matsuno. Renowned game developer, designer, he's talking about the return to Ivalice. By the way, yes, I hate to say this, the questions, you can ask him questions on the forums, and you're supposed to ask him questions about 12 and the raid.
Okay, so the Ritter.
But oh my god, some of the questions people are asking aren't even anything about it.
People
What
don't
are they
read. We know
asking?
that.
Anything from furniture to the mobile app to
Oh, no.
every
God.
random question you can think of.
No.
This is why we can't have nice things, people.
Because
Sadly,
I was
that's
watching
true.
Mr. Happy's video on this, and he's like, "Okay, that's not a question. I can't. That's not. Is there even one?"
Why are you people bad at this?
Yeah, there's a question about bots,
Instructions.
a question about the mobile app, a question about Chocolate Talon Boot,
Bots in the raid.
a question about a sequel to Little Samson.
About what?
When are we getting a sequel to Little Samson? Says the Grimace.
I don't even know what the hell that is.
Pardon me dying back here. This is great though. Like, just
People are terrible.
I kind of like the elemental Wolf Rika. Well, is there a chance we can get skill chain on magic vests?
No.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
Okay.
So, speaking of things that we got in a live letter and talked about, we want to now talk about some things that we would like to see moving forward within the game. You know, because they recently announced that we're going to be getting a new area in Eureka, Pagos. That's going to be coming around 4.35, we're assuming. They announced that we're going to be getting the new 24-man raid at the Ridorana Lighthouse, the Ridorana Cataract. But, you know, we really haven't seen any new and exciting content like they've been promising us, you know, since we lost the dungeons in these development cycles. You know what I mean? They told us, you know, before since they were only giving us one dungeon on the odd patches, they would give us some new, they were going to use that development time for new and exciting content. So
It's called
I'm hoping Eureka. That's not exactly what everybody was hoping for. So we're kind of thought we would discuss what kinds of things do we want to see as gamers within Final Fantasy XIV.
I'll tell you what the people who are commenting on that live letter question thing want. They want a sequel to Little Samson.
I still don't even know what that is.
I don't know either, but it's just
but apparently it's a thing, and they must have it
in Final Fantasy 14.
Yep.
Yeah.
But at this point, we want to invite you guys listening live on Twitch to jump onto our Discord server and tell us, you know, what you want to hear about as well. We've got a few ideas that we're going to throw out there, but we'd like to hear from you guys as well. The link is below the stream. But if you want to join us and let us know, jump into the call-in channel and we will get you on. So, the things that we have gotten so far within Stormblood, new stuff, we've gotten Rival Wings, a new type of PvP. We've gotten the Lost Canals of Uznair, which is basically another riff on the, why can't I brain about...
Aquapolis.
Thank you. The maps, map dungeons. We've gotten Eureka. They've given us Ultimate Coil. And we've gotten, you know, the standard new dungeons, new raids, new primals, stuff like that. So, kind of some of the things that we were thinking of. What kinds of things do we want to see? I'm pulling this from ideas that I've been wanting, as well as things that I've heard other people within the community talking about. Oh boy, somebody got timed out. Let me fix that quick. Sorry, Sylvanet. I will fix that.
Hey, that's an L as a name, so it's Sylvanet.
Sorry.
I still feel like you're pronouncing too many consonants.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
Racist.
It's just
Yotsuyo!
Yotsuyu.
Yotsuyu, secret Ellison. As if we need more reasons to abuse the Wildwoods.
Anyway,
I'm a bad person.
one of the things that I've heard people talking about is open world PvP. Now, I know not a lot of people, at least in this particular show, PvP.
I don't think anybody really PvPs, let alone this show.
Well,
Yeah, that's true. It's tough to get a queue.
Unless you're doing ranked feast, yeah, it's tough to get a queue for a lot of PvP content right now. But I've heard a lot of people talking about, you know, adding in the idea of different types of open world PvP, whether it would be a new zone that you would have to opt into, to jump into, you know, per server, or the other option I've heard talked about is creating a brand new server on each data center and bringing in a new character.
I mean, has open world PvP ever been anything other than I just want to beat up random people occasionally?
Isn't that what made World of Warcraft like suck and a nightmare?
Some people, that's what they really enjoyed about the game.
Yes, and some people enjoy serial murder.
Some people didn't enjoy cereal.
Enjoy murdering bowls of cereal like, you know, Cheerios and
Well, I mean, that's legit. Those are tasty.
Yeah.
I never was a big cereal fan though. Like what I worry about is
And those are the people who are serial murderers. Just kidding.
what I worry about is people on existing servers who don't want to PvP. Like, and one of those suggestions I think, like you said, was having like a specific zone where you opt in. So then if you didn't want to PvP, then you could just run around as normal.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
That's kind of
And
what I'm
then-
saying. Or you just wouldn't get in there because there'd be no other reason to go into that zone other than to PvP.
So then here's another question then. If you were to make another server for it, what about people who would just go in there and use jump potions?
Jump potions.
What if you?
I would say.
What if they limit it?
I would say
So you
jump
can't-
potions are not allowed.
Yeah.
Or I
And you
mean,
can't server transfer either.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be like, yeah, remember when Legacy Worlds thing, you couldn't create a new character, you couldn't move the Legacy characters outside the Legacy Worlds until a certain time period.
And in this type of thing, you wouldn't be allowed to bring in an existing character to this world in order to maintain some sort of equality.
but would that satisfy the people who want this content?
I don't know. These are just ideas that I've been throwing out. So I'm not Square Enix. Like I said, it's just an idea that I thought of, and I've heard other people talking about it. And if I were to implement it, I would say those things. Like I said, new characters only, no jump potions. You have to grind your way up in order to
Fox only, Final Destination. Wait, what?
Yeah, I think one shortcoming of the current like new content, so to speak, is it doesn't seem like there's anything that the mid-core players or even the casual players have really embraced just yet. You've catered toward, your hardcore raiders with Ultimate. You've catered toward PvP players to some extent with Rival Wings, but obviously FF14 isn't really known as a PvP game at this point. And so, I think a lot of people, at least from my experience, like they're just like, there's nothing to do. We can go to Eureka and grind, but I think they've kind of been disenfranchised by that.
Yeah. It's not something I'm really feeling at this point. Like, I've been doing okay, I'll try to get all the animo weapons thing, but even that's starting to wear thin.
Yeah, and it's like I do not have really many answers because I'm not an MMO veteran. This is really my first grown-up MMO that I've played, and so I don't know what they could bring in, but I think just a shortcoming of what they've done right now is just finding something that's a good medium for some of those mid-core and casual players. Something that they will embrace and something that's seen as fun. So, what could that be? I do not know.
The only problem with the way this game is designed, really, for that is the fact that all the gear is always outdated a couple of patches later. You don't really have a piece of gear that you keep for long enough to be worth grinding for too much. It's not like in 11 where the relic weapon lasted in like 15 years.
Which kind of brought its own problems.
Yeah, it brings its own problems at the same time.
Like, it's kind of tricky because, like, one of the things that's changed so much between now and then is, like, the whole thing where I turned into an adult with adult responsibilities and schedules and the like.
Yeah, definitely.
Where it's like, it's nice that I guess it would be nice if that existed. I would also never devote the time to it.
All right, can I have you guys hold that thought? We do have somebody who would like to join us, Zirin from our free company on Hyperion. They would like to, talk with us about what they want to see within the game.
I don't know. Other people's opinions? Sounds like a dangerous precedent.
Yeah, I know. You may need to set up push to talk, Zirin. I did unmute you, or you may want to make sure that you are unmuted on your end. Hopefully you can hear us. Always so tough when you have the restrictions on the room so people can't just jump in randomly. I think I changed it so that it should allow people to talk in here without being on push to talk, but maybe he just needs to unmute.
While we have dead air,
Yes, definitely. I'm trying
did you
to work on it.
mention that the character models that we rolled for these new characters are actually, for Emmy and I, are based on our real life appearances.
I was noticing that. That is a very interesting
That's
thing.
pretty cool.
Like, I wonder if we could do like a close up at some point.
Oh man,
was
it's
kinda-
dot hack all over again.
It's like,
I was
here's
kinda
what we kind of
disappointed.
look like, sort of.
I was kind of
But you
disappointed
were-
like a Lalafels.
Oh, you were hoping that I'd brought Nanamo. I do still have Nanamo on Hyperion.
Yay.
All right, Zirin, can you hear
It's
us?
still there.
Are you there? They're no longer muted, so I'm hoping that they can talk. Anything?
So back to crazy Lalafell whatnots.
Crazy Lalafell.
Yeah, I
thoughts.
mean, if you want to let us be vain and like G pose us, for
if
for
you
a
want to G-pose
second.
in the middle there, go right ahead.
I guess whoever's controlling the camera can G pose one of us, since we're next to each other.
That actually,
I know what
cannot.
that means as a verb, but it sounds dirty.
G pose sounds dirty.
Like no, saying G pose us. That sounds dirty.
It's easier than trying to move the character model up.
Hello.
All right,
Oh.
I can hear a voice.
we can
I
hear you
can too.
now. Let me get you up a little bit. How are you doing tonight?
Not too bad. I have to set up my push to talk real quick.
All right, you can get a little closer to your mic so we can hear you a little better.
Hang on a sec.
This is what happens when you do it live, folks.
Who's actually controlling the camera?
I
That's, you are, okay.
Yeah, so it's not gonna be something that we can do.
I see. Yeah, and I can't exactly move because I'm in the booth.
Yep. I guess I got as close as I could to you guys at this point. So,
Maybe at the end of the show.
yep. I mean, if you wanted to get up in front in the middle, you could do that way, but I can't make any adjustments mid-show right now.
Well, that would be selfish. I want them to look at both of us.
Yeah, because if
Here,
Amy were to do
log
that, she would
out
have
and
to
log
go.
on online.
But then we would lose you.
Then we'd lose. Yeah, then we'd probably lose Remix too. So I don't know. Oh, actually, here while we're setting up, I'll mute myself and I will go move myself.
Ooh. Better mute yourself before you move yourself. I have no idea what that would actually mean.
All right, Zirin, is it better now? All right, why don't you let us know when you're ready in the show discussion channel, and we'll bring you back in when you're ready. All right.
Meanwhile, we're gonna be vain. Thank you, by the way, for like wasting money on this level 1 glamour that I'll never wear again.
You could come back. You could have another appearance.
It was a part of the rider, otherwise you guys wouldn't show up.
Also, we made Chili sort M&Ms for hours. This had nothing to do with the writer. We just made him do it.
Yeah.
And I also had wet gloves because of my nut allergy. So it was interesting to do.
Yeah, because they had to be all peanut M&Ms with the chocolate taken off.
Yeah.
And we got these guys just dancing around. There we go. And actually, the design is pretty good for, comparing what they really look like in person.
Yeah.
All right. Zirin thinks that they're ready to go. We're going to try it one more time. All
So I'll
right.
stop trying to go up their skirt.
Are you there, Zirin?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So, what were you thinking would be something you would like to see coming in to Final Fantasy XIV?
A new deep dungeon, because I really like what they did with.
We're actually getting one.
Well,
yeah.
but so they did mention that Heaven on High, that big old, what I swear is a space elevator in the middle of the Ruby Sea,
Yep.
is going to
Ancient
be
elegant space elevator.
Yes.
yeah, probably is going to be a deep dungeon-ish type thing. Though they said it's going to be somewhat different from the previous one. So maybe talk a little about what sorts of specifics you'd like to see in a deep dungeon.
Well, given the way it's set up, it's going to go up instead of down. For starters. But I'm really just interested to see what they can do differently, because the first one, the name of which escapes right now, I'm sorry. Palace of the Dead. Yeah. Palace of the Dead was kick-ass. I honestly really enjoyed it, and I love the fact that you can just hop in at level 15, and essentially learn a class while you're in there. Because I played through Samurai when it first came out. I went from Samurai all the way up to level 60, and I learned that class without really having to do much else but learn Palace of the Dead. And I did that with other classes that I was interested in. I did that with Marauder. I did that with Bard. So I got to learn those classes without needing to like sacrifice my own soul in the PvP area, in the PvE areas rather, to actually learn the class. So I'd really like to see something else like that go with, higher level classes.
Yeah.
So go from 6, so we're kind of getting something similar to that. Like I said, the Heaven on High is going to be the deep dungeon for 61 to 70 at this point.
Yeah. It did. You are right. It did have that interesting feature of being able to be a test ground in a meaningful way. I mean, it wasn't just something where you go and beat up on a training dummy. You actually got to try it out in a combat situation and get a feel for how it played. And there were a few jobs where I tried it out in the Palace of the Dead just to see, like, okay, what is it like when I play this?
Yeah, I did that. When I did that with Marauder, that's why I decided I could not do Warrior. I'd rather do Dark Knight or Paladin as a tank, because Marauder was just not a good fit for me.
And that's one thing I enjoyed. Was I like Warrior. It's a fun tank class. It allows you to be kind of a half DPS as well.
Right. But getting the opportunity to actually see what that was like without necessarily having to invest a lot, that's actually really valuable.
Very different in the types of things that they like. And being able to do that is a lot of fun. And the growth is just so fast when you in the deep dungeon. Going from 17 to 60, it doesn't take very long at all. Just like 30 floors, 40 floors, or is it less than that even?
I think one time when I ran it with a bunch of friends, like when you run it from the very beginning, when you get to like 450, that's essentially like a level up and a half at that point, just when you go from 1 to 50.
Mm-hmm. Just as a source of XP, it was also pretty surprisingly good.
Yeah, I mean,
definitely, yeah. Your
outside character didn't go all the way up there, but playing it inside, you were able to experience what it was like.
Oh, I think he's saying also just the fact, like, after doing this, hey, got a good level and a half out of it, just from doing that climb.
Oh, yeah. That's really that's really more so what I'm talking about, yeah. Because I got Samurai from 50 to 60 in no time flat running Palace of the Dead, and I loved it.
It is a quick way to do it. I think from my perspective, at least, seeing all of the different actions that were available was a little bit overwhelming. Looking at everything that you'll get from 60 or at level 60. But on the other hand, like you said, it is a good way to test out what things are like. And, over time you do get used to it. And I don't know that it was really a way for me, for example, leveling Bard. It didn't really get me good at Bard, but it at least gave me an understanding of how it worked. And then at that point, I could move on to different trials and really hone in on places where I could get better at the classes that I was trying out.
Yeah. I feel like at a certain point, it's like, okay, going through the leveling process also is not going to necessarily make you better at it. It's just a lot of putting in time with it and getting a general idea for this is what this class does, this is how these work together. Like, people talk about, jump potion's going to do such and such, or, leveling too quickly. But slogging through something doesn't necessarily make you good at it either. It just makes you persistent.
Yeah, definitely. I thought of, I don't know if any of you ever played Metal Gear Solid, but how Metal Gear Solid had its VR training missions, that little side stuff. To me, Palace of the Dead turned into VR training when it came to classes.
I really like that metaphor.
Because it's the truth, because you got to actually test it out in a combat situation that didn't really affect your main game. So it's like it was just a good place to hone your skills if you were unsure of how certain combos worked, or if you really wanted to get a better feel for how to make things work. Like, I tested out a lot of different combo combinations for Monk in Palace of the Dead, and it helped me get a lot better at it because of just running it constantly and trying different combinations.
So it's not even necessarily the deep dungeon content we're looking at, just so much as more things that let you actually kind of develop those skills.
Right, because like a lot of the skills that popped up from 60 to 70, they kind of changed a lot for a lot of classes. Like Monk didn't really get a lot added to it as far as attacks are concerned, but learning how to better combine the buffs, like Brotherhood especially, combining that with Riddle of Fire and a bunch of other things you can do on Monk that I can't really think of right now, but learning how to combine those together in a virtual training situation helps so much. Like you just can't get on the striking though, because the striking though you can't strike back at you.
Right. The one that also comes to mind for me is with Bard. At early levels, it's like the moment you hit level. Well, I guess it's changed a little bit now with the way the songs work. But back before the current revamps, the moment you hit level 48 and you got the thing where your dots would randomly reset Bloodletter, it's like, okay, this is now a very different thing. You are now all about keeping up this crit rate and maintaining these debuffs and all of that. And it's just like, okay, doing all the stuff on the dummy, all that, it doesn't really teach you. There's no substitute for just spending some time at the maximum level playing with the skills. And that gives you a chance to spend time at a high level, play with it a bit, get used to that. And again, like we also said, see if it's something you want to do before you invest too much time in leveling up a class that it turns out you hate.
All right, well, thank you, Zirin, for joining us on that. Any other quick ideas you had before we let you go?
Not at the moment, no.
All right, well, we appreciate your input, and we will talk with you later, man. Have a good one.
You too, anytime.
All right. So, that was kind of cool. It took a little bit to get it going sometimes, but you know how that can go sometimes. But like I said, a lot of people, I'm not a huge fan of PvP either. You know, sorry, going back to the open world PvP idea, but I bring it up right away because, like I said, it's one of the things that I have heard from people that they would like to see.
Yeah.
The one,
and for a lot of them, I feel like this was like, it was interesting to talk about the saying like, hey, you want a deep dungeon, but then as we talk about it a bit more, it's like not necessarily actually a deep dungeon, but something that fulfilled this particular role.
Okay, and that actually reminded me of one that I didn't actually put on the list, but other people have talked about. You know, expansion on the whole Hall of the Novice, going to like a Hall of the Intermediary, Hall of the Expert. You know, something a way for training some of those upper level things, so you can play with them that way, other than just Stone Sky Sea.
I mean, Stone Sky Sea isn't really meant to be training. It's meant to be more, okay, fine, here's your parser.
And I'm not even saying a parser, you know?
But I mean, that's pretty much like Stone Sky Sea doesn't actually teach you anything. It's more just a place to test out stuff.
Yeah, but I could see, you know, if we could get some sort of a hall enhancement, you know, up the level, up the difficulty, something that we can use for level 50, level 60, level 70, to learn some of those skills, you know, outside of a dungeon, outside of Stone Sky Sea, and just expand on that whole thing with the Smiths and make that content, you know, extend it to the players that have been playing for a while.
Yeah, I think Nell Celestine from the Twitch chat had some good names ideas
Hall of
for
the
those
Veteran,
expansions.
Hall of the
Yeah.
Master, yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool to see something like that, you know, so we don't just have this little hall in the middle of Western Lenosha, just sitting in the middle there, just outside of Sestasha, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you were in this hall and it would unlock all of the skills that would be available at a certain level, and then it went into like some of the combinations as opposed to just general things like the Hall of the Novice does right now, avoid AoEs, or, you know, do damage.
Yeah, a lot of those lessons feel kind of slow paced, and like I went through them just to see what's involved with them, but it's like, I wonder how quickly people get bored with this and tune out.
Or even if they were to take
really the only reason why I go into Hall of the Novice now is that ring.
Yeah, you need to get that bonus ring. That is kind of nice. Or even if they were to take the Guildhest system and expand on that.
Yeah, Guildhouse was also kind of an attempt to do that, wasn't it?
A little bit. This next idea I've wanted for a long time, and that's Blitzball. I mean, when we came over here, I thought that Blitzball would be the next thing that they would have to add into our game, right?
Apparently not.
But
Yeah.
I mean, does anybody else think that Blitzball would be an amazing thing to play?
I know a lot of people are hyped for if Blitzball would ever like show up. I think people would be really excited about it. But
It will
I
die
worry.
in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I worry it would be something like Chocobo Racing, where a small minority still do Chocobo Racing.
Yeah.
I
kinda-
mean,
Actually, I think it'll be
Blitzball is a
more like
really
Vermilion.
complicated game.
Yeah, or
I mean,
Verminion. Nobody does Verminion. Who does?
I mean,
Verminion?
I played Blitzball a lot in 10, and it's not a simple game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
it's not. They would have to put so much more development time in it than Chocobo Racing
I mean, like,
that they can't afford to program it all and then have it be a 2-week fad. You know what I mean?
right. Like, it needs to be something that's deep enough that people are still playing. It's like, okay, you're swimming around this area, and now what? How do you actually handle the mechanics of passing the ball? Special moves, like, you want those special moves, those cool cinematic ones. Do you have to worry about what position our people are playing? Is it going to be a thing where our Blitzball queue is taking half an hour because no one's queuing as a goalie?
Yeah. It's not a simple game.
No, it
So I
isn't.
don't think
mean,
they want to take the risk.
There is the other option. 10-2 had a version of Blitzball, which is basically you played a coach.
Yeah, it was like a little management simulator type thing. Was that
Yeah.
one? Did people actually play that one much though?
I don't know. I didn't play much 10-2, so
But what can I do for you?
Hmm.
come up with a better joke.
Well, If I could come up with 1,000 words, I would.
That one was forced. I mean,
Yeah,
they
it
were
was.
both forced, but
They're pretty forced
yeah.
into the plot.
So, anyways,
And then the one Chili talked about earlier, Battle Royale.
Yay! Battle Royale PvP mode.
I mean, Battle Royale is actually a really big thing right now in the PvP area for a lot of different games. If you look at Fortnite, PUBG,
Hell, even Call of Duty's dropping its single player mode so it can just have a Battle Royale mode.
seriously,
Yeah.
wow.
and I'm not sure how well that would go through in a game like Final Fantasy 14.
I mean,
But-
they tried to steal MOBAs with Rival Wing, so why not?
I mean, it's an idea, definitely, but
I feel like I forget if it was Emi or Sakura who said it about how like a lot of the stuff it's like, okay, I'll do it a couple times, but then like for the mid-core players, it's like this is a thing that sounds neat and you do it a few times and then what?
The person who survives gets the title of Warrior of Light.
That feels like that could get awkward really fast.
Yeah.
Nell's still waiting
I mean, not
for the Ultimate
completely.
Fight
I mean,
14.
just get-
You guys remember that, don't you?
That would be pretty legit.
Yeah, the side Street Fighter clone.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Some more mini games for our little toy box would be nice. I know we've had some more recently, but it'd be nice to get some more.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of those are just like kind of fun little side projects that they work on and add them every so often. Some of them totally have the feel of, I programmed this game for fun when I was bored one day.
I'd like to see.
Which is awesome. I love that aesthetic.
Yeah, I personally would like to see more mini games in the Gold Saucer. I'd like to see some expansion in there. Give us
That'd be nice.
some more things that, maybe some of the ones from 7. Like the one I really would like to see is the Battle Challenge. I mean, that could be something we could use to, play around with our skills within, and then earn MGP at the same time.
And tissues.
I don't want to know what you're going to do with those.
Well, no, because remember, if you did really badly, you got tissues.
I know. I am just going to make a joke about you being a pervert and move on
Okay.
from there.
I know Sarah
Well,
wants to
just-
see Mog House.
Oh my
I
god,
wanna
that
see
game was the best.
I don't know what it would really do in this particular context, but
You would play it once and get some MGTP, and then you would play it over and over again to see the adorable story.
Yeah.
This seems obvious.
Have it tied to a weekly achievement so you can win it, be it once a week.
It
There
would
you go.
lower people's stress levels. This is a terrible idea, but
exactly.
I'm all for
Also-
it because it's adorable.
Also, why not that sort of wrestling game they had where you had like the high, middle, and low punch?
Oh, basically like basically Rochambeau.
Yeah.
Oh, look at me. I know fancy French things.
I was gonna say rock paper scissors, but that word wasn't coming to me.
Oh no, remember the punching game? I remember that.
Yeah. Oh, wait, they already do have the basketball game. Never
Yep,
mind.
the
I
basketball-
totally
Yeah.
blanked that even existed.
Yeah, it's not. You can miss on that one at least. But it's better that they've actually increased the payouts on them, but it doesn't pay out nearly as well as the Finer Minor and the
Out on a Limb.
Out on a Limb. So
That's the only thing I do in Gold Saucer now
right,
to get like those achievements, because you're paying one for either game.
exactly.
Yeah.
You're paying one MGP and you get so much more.
Yeah, and everybody does Out on a Limb because that's the easier of the two.
Yep.
Yeah. Remember when those were 1.0 mechanics?
Yeah,
Yep.
I do actually.
Yeah.
That's why I do so well at them.
Oh,
But yeah, I'll run those. I do actually do Verminion 3 times a week just so I can get my 10K. I just run through 3 of the scenarios real quick.
You can
I
even
load it
do
up
RP
sometimes
tutorial.
and then go and then come back.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like-
you do a Pete.
Does it require? It just requires you to play, right? Not
Yes.
win.
Yeah.
But I figure
Well then,
it's so easy. I can win each one in about 2 minutes, so it doesn't take that long at all.
but you know what else you could do in 2 minutes?
do I
Eat a
ask?
sandwich?
And there's a
Yeah.
pregnant pause.
Yeah, it's like, do I even want to ask?
I mean, in this case, I was actually going to go with just like go get a soda.
Well, I said eat a sandwich. That's. I mean, the first one you can make the sandwich, then the second one you can start eating it, and then the third one you can put the plate away.
Exactly. Look at how much you've accomplished.
See, what I do is it's a lot shorter to just go through them than waiting for time to expire. So I just do the tutorial 3 times because it counts.
Oh.
I pick Battle 3 because that's usually the easiest one for me to just go through real easily. So
You know, somewhere, like one of the people who worked on Verminion is listening to this discussion and sobbing.
Probably.
Well,
That
It's the
poor
guy
per-
who.
that's what
It's
they
the guy
get.
who every patch adds new minion abilities.
That's what they
They
get for
do
making
that.
a April Fool's joke into reality.
And yet
Why
they
couldn't
haven't
we have
made
done
that.
the one with like the NPC romance quest?
I'm just saying, yet they haven't made the romance one.
Please. No, they should do the romance one. That's what they should be spending their time on. So
Yeah,
then
exactly.
I can go live my dream of making Nanamo and Ralban a reality.
And I could be with Tataru.
No, that's
Yay.
going to be
Waifu
expansion on.
simulator.
Well, that's going to be the expansion on the custom deliveries. Eventually, we'll get to ship with more NPCs.
Day
Like
one.
you have to craft and gather things and, to win their
To
To
win
win
love.
their
their
love,
love.
exactly.
That design document promised a Garuda scenario. I require that Garuda scenario.
It would probably be like one of those crack endings, like it's not supposed to be a serious
That is
ending.
exactly why I want this scenario.
I can't remember which race it was, but the bird race from Heaven's Ward, wasn't that one of the male choice for the females?
Vanu Vanu?
Vanus, yeah.
Oh dear.
Was it?
I'm sure I
I'm
saw
not
it.
sure. We didn't get that one translated, did we? I just read about
No,
it from other
we didn't
things.
get it translated.
But Baziran did bring up in the chat they want to see the Kingdom Hearts Final Fantasy 14 crossover.
It'll come after the Final Fantasy 15 one, so please be excited.
I don't know how to feel about that idea. I honestly, this isn't a I disapprove. This is a I actually do not know how I feel about that.
What if it was the other way around? Imagine if a Final Fantasy 14 character appeared in Kingdom Hearts. That'd be nice.
It'd
Probably
be,
Stola.
Yeah, that's what we were about
Yeah.
to say.
Like Ishtola's kind of the game representative.
Yes, and I'm more than a little salty about that.
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Damn.
because she's a character who
She's a
needs
cat
more
girl.
development.
She's a cat. You don't like it because she's a cat girl.
Well,
A somewhat
It's
mystical cat girl.
It's true that I do not like cat girls compared to the other races. However, I also do not like that Y'shtola is a character that really needs to be developed upon more. I think if we had more interesting scenario involving her, then maybe I'd be a little bit more okay with it.
Yeah,
but-
she seems potentially super interesting.
Yeah,
They just
but like
don't push
for
the
now,
boat out with her, so.
she just kind of comes across as a little bit bland up to this state. And I know there are going to be people who disagree with me, but I
those
do
people
think
are wrong.
Those
No.
people are wrong.
those people are entitled to their opinions regardless of
They're
whether or
wrong
not it is wrong.
opinions.
Regardless of whether or not it is wrong. But she needs more character development. We need some kind of story arc where it focuses, on her, where she goes through some sort of change, and we just haven't gotten that. So I think at this point, I don't know that I'm happy with her as representing the game.
Like, everyone believes that she and Thancred had a thing at some point, right? That's not just me?
It's a popular headcanon.
Okay, then.
And I mean, some people ship it,
I don't know if I
there's some
ship
people
it.
that ship everybody, but like,
Yeah.
it's a popular headcanon. The way they kind of bicker, like
this-
exes.
Like, there's something there. They had a thing at some point. They don't, and both of them acknowledge it was a mistake. But there's, like, something.
Nell makes a good
Like,
point.
I don't want them to be... I don't
Uh,
want them to be together. I just want them to have been at some point.
I was gonna say Nell makes a good point in the chat. Y'shtola has better character development than Vaughn from 12.
Oh, God, don't start me on... Like, that's somewhat intentional. He's supposed to be kind of an everyman Claire representative.
I'm Captain Boss.
Plus that. Like, come on. That was the greatest.
All right. I'd like to
Don't
see.
believe Gridania's lies.
Let's move on, guys.
Yes! Oh, my God. I need to make this happen somehow.
I'd like to see him bring Chocobo Hot and Cold into 14.
I mean, they did have that in 11.
Yep.
And I honestly actually enjoyed that in 11 a lot.
Yeah, like I said, I played the hell of it in 9. Trying to, because you had to get all the the chocographs and all
Right.
that, and then you got to get to these different areas. But yeah, I did also play it quite a bit in 11. It was kind of fun to get the little map and then take your chocobo out to an area and try and find
Oh my
a
God.
random
Do you know
prize.
how much I leveled up my chocobo digging in FF11?
right.
Do you know what? Maybe that could be good. That could be a good alternative to the map system that we have already.
Or an expansion
Because-
on.
Yeah, well, an expansion on, or you just go out with your chocobo instead of grabbing a party and going out to do maps.
Yeah, I would like more companion content, either the chocobo or if they're going to do something else with it. That would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like you still would have very, very rare items that you could acquire from, Chocobo Hot and Cold. And probably the chances would be even lower because it's only one person doing, the digging and the searching for all these items. But I think that would be a little bit more fun than what we have right now, which is we have maps. You can find another map, and then you can get more loot sometimes.
Yeah.
It's another tier of maps. And for somebody like me with really bad RNG, it's not too fun.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a single person one that gave you decent gear or decent loot, but maybe not quite as high a tier, or a very random chance at getting the higher tier stuff.
Yeah, like what if you use some of those for like higher level crafting gear or something like that?
I just want some of those orchestrion rolls at this point.
Or yeah, that would be nice.
But yeah, having Chocobo Hot and Cold as a way to make that content accessible that would be nice. I'd like that.
Yeah.
Somebody listed Tetramaster, and we've already got Triple Triad.
Oh yeah, that was me. I was being kind of trolly.
Oh,
I was like, we've already got Triple Triad, so let's add Tetramaster and make it more confusing.
and make you pay an additional $1 a month to play it.
Yeah, make it a completely separate app.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that and then chose Tetramaster. Like, that one is objectively worse than Triple Triad. Ugh. For those who have no idea what the fuck we're talking about, Final Fantasy XI with the Play Online web service that you could access from it also had a Tetramaster app. It was a separate app. You paid a separate fee for it. You played Tetramaster in it, and that was about it.
Also, never go into the chat rooms.
Oh God, were there
places.
really? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Why are people garbage?
All right. And then something that I've thought about is why can't we have higher difficulty epic scale raids, so to speak? For those who played WoW, you know, a lot of their high-end raids needed like 40 to 50 people.
Yeah, I think the big problem there was always the coordination, but if you could find a way around that problem, because I think that was the thing that ended up making it not be worthwhile, was just you have to actually coordinate that many people.
I mean, we struggle with 24-man coordination, so...
Yeah, and like I said, I come up with the idea that, yeah, we do have trouble with, you know, the 24-man catch-up content, but, I mean, I know there's a few people who would like to see something like that, whether it would be enough to really...
Right. I mean, I guess the big thing I would ask is...
I doubt it.
What is it that they like about that? What are they hope? Like when we talked earlier about the deep dungeon stuff, it wasn't necessarily specifically that he wanted, but it gave him the opportunity for this, or it gave this feeling. And so, like, are there other ways we could fulfill that desire?
I mean, it would be nice to have something more than just, you know, one raid every 2 patches.
The problem with that is they don't have enough staff. If you can ask for more than 1 raid per 2 patches, you're going to have to lose something else.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to think of what kind of things can we get for losing some of the dungeons we've already lost.
Well, I really think we're getting a lot this patch for losing 1 dungeon. I mean, we're getting a whole new deep dungeon system, which would mean new maps. We're getting a whole new Eureka, which is a new map. And we're getting the primals like usual, and we're getting the raid. So depending on the scale of the raid, I really think we're getting quite a decent amount of content in this patch for once.
No, I guess
the big question is if it's content that is going to keep people going for a while.
Yeah, and I think I would argue it's kind of failed to do that up to this point.
Yeah.
That's not going to keep me from playing. I'm going to play anyways.
Yeah,
you know, I've got role playing to do, but
we find other things to take our time other than the content itself. Like I said, I'm just trying to figure out, you know, are there other things that could be added to the game that might engage people for longer than, you know, half a patch.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
The next one I've talked about quite a bit. I've heard other people talking about it. Pop items. You know, for NMs.
So these are items that you use to spawn a particular notorious monster.
Correct.
Square Enix have talked about this being a feature in the future Eureka.
Yep, and I'd like to see it. I mean, I'd like to see it even in the outer world. And Emi and I talked about this a little bit yesterday when we were doing some mic checks. I kind of explained to her what I was talking about here, and what I was kind of coming up with was, I know Square Enix likes to try and make older content relevant. Sometimes, like, they'll make up either a relic weapon or something along those lines, make you go back to older dungeons to get you know what I mean,
right? With the animal weapon, how the ether oil step, you could get an extra batch just by running the crystal tower again.
Yep, or like you had to go and run the primals to get, you know, through a certain quest step or stuff like that.
I mean, it seems like for a lot of those, they've just expanded and changed the duty roulette system as a longer term way to make sure that to get people to do the older content.
Yeah, so one idea I thought of is maybe, you know, they would create these notorious monsters that you would need these pop items for, and you could get the pop items by running dungeons that are relevant to that particular NM. I
wonder if you could also do something, because one of the things that I remember about FF11 being the other place where I had pop items, One of the big problems being, hey, this was a lot of them were you had to do content that was open world where people could control. Like, hey, you go up to Sky and to get these pop items, you're farming against all of these other link shells. You're having to compete with others. And I wonder if it might be something where running dungeons, he said, or possibly maybe something like as a Wondrous Tales reward.
Yeah, and
Just something where it's like they can still kind of keep a control on the flow of these items, but just making sure that it's not something where you have to be competing directly against other players, because that's where most of the butthurt and miserable community stuff came from.
One of the main issues with pop items is the fact that you're popping the monster and someone else has a pop item. If they click it, will it spawn it again, or do they have to wait until you've killed it? And then that can like stagger if there's if it's new content, loads of people are going to try and farm that pop item, but there might be like 30-40 people waiting to spawn.
Or the alternative is you have 30 or 40 groups each running their thing at the same time, and oh my god, everyone stay out of that zone because it's going to be lagged to fuck.
Or I mean, it could end up being something similar to what they ended up doing with Ixion. You had to get a special item in order to actually be able to do the fate.
Right.
So they could either make it a fate style thing where it'll, you need this to fight the monster, or they can make it an enhancement to the hunt system where you need to get the pop item or to get the hunt mark to spawn.
In which case, it does start to become this is not necessarily an insurmountable problem, but you do have a free rider problem of lots like. Is anyone going to actually do it, or is everyone going to wait for someone else to do it?
Everyone's just going to turn up so they can leech, so that the one person that pops it can pop it, and then everyone else just like, yay, free rewards!
But at the same time, if you turn it into, oh, hey, you give some kind of exclusive reward for the person who does this, then you again put in that incentive for everyone to compete to be the person who does this.
That's what I was going to say is, the person or the party who spawns it, they get a special item or a bonus item or whatever. But, people who join in, they'll get maybe some hunt marks or something like that for participation.
Like, free riders are not necessarily a bad thing. Even a healthy economic system has some amount of them. It's inescapable, and trying to put too much resources towards eliminating them actually ends up wasting a lot of resources. Yeah. But it's something that at least needs to be considered. It's a lot more complicated than just saying, oh, hey, have these spawn things, because we've seen all the ways it can go wrong.
Yeah. I mean, those are some of the things that we were able to come up with. Any other ones that you guys didn't put down on the list?
So I mentioned it before, but I would like to see a little bit more with maybe like Chocobo companions, or I noticed that the listing is called companion and not just Chocobo, so I wonder if it might be possible to have other fighting companions.
Well, wasn't that something that was talked about at one point?
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
I originally heard they were planning to have your Magitech be a companion at one point.
Yeah, has there been any development on that?
Yeah, about as much as the free roaming primals that your free company can catch.
Right. Yeah. And then I also did remember, there may be reasons that I can think of many good reasons that they wouldn't be, but I'm remembering something like talent trees that you see in a lot of ones where it's like, hey, this is something where you feel like you're getting neat prizes that modify your abilities or other things like that. Even though I know they do cause a lot of issues, it's still something where I want to feel like I'm picking something in how my character develops,
Yeah.
I did like merit points in 11. I would like merit points.
I don't want merit points exactly, but...
I want merit points exactly. I want a reason to keep playing at 70, max level, because I love merit points because I could get XP and put them to my stats and learn new stuff.
I mean, as long as the end game content is continuing to give you decent XP, that works. Yeah. It did seem like something where it became yet another grind fest, and I would prefer not to have that.
Yeah. But with 14, you're grinding anyway because you'll do your experts for your tomes, and it'll be something you get over time.
Yeah, but I mean, with 11, it turned into this is the grinding that you do so that you can do other kinds of grinding.
Yeah, I see both sides of it. It would be nice to have a reason other than tomes and gear to keep doing endgame content.
Yeah, if it's something you're getting incidentally while you're doing this other stuff, and you don't have to do significant amounts of dedicated outside things just to get them, then I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, because we're already nowhere near as grindy as 11 was.
I would prefer we not go too far in that direction.
Exactly. So I mean, you wouldn't think they would put that much, more on top of it. So
I had been worried about if Eureka was going to go in that direction, but it still doesn't seem too insane. I'm okay with it.
It's a lot more condensed.
Yeah. Which again goes back to that whole hey, they respect the fact that we are people with busy lives. I like that.
Yes. So I think we can go ahead and put a pin on this one. Unless you have one more thing quick, Chili.
I just want to bring my old thing that I suggest nearly every time that I remember it.
Oh dear.
I want crafting and gathering fates.
How about Hamlet Defense?
No, I don't want anything like that. I mean, you go, you're in the town, and the shop pops up saying, "Oh no, we're out of trousers. Can some crafters craft trousers because they're the best seller this season?"
Well,
and so you go there. It gives you
mass craft the trousers.
Yeah, and they give you the ingredients it's like a special.
Or maybe you have to run to various suppliers in the Fate area to grab the inputs.
Yeah, you'll get all the ingredients are free, so they don't have to cost anything, and it's like a special craft. So
Right.
Just don't steal the pants.
I mean, I would like the Hamlet Defense one just because the all crafter, all gatherer one came with the best achievement name: make stuff not war.
Well, my idea of gathering one is a bit weird.
Oh man, that's so good.
I know.
My idea for a gathering fate is, we've got too many of these cabbages. Do you mind go gathering them before the enemies start attacking?
And then at the end, they get carried off in a wain, which crashes, and someone starts screaming about their cabbages because we need the cheap reference. Sorry, I apologize for that deeply.
No, you don't.
So you got to go around gathering plants off. Oh no, it seems there's too many fish. Go get the fish.
Yeah, you're culling the fish population.
Yeah.
Emi or Remix, did you guys have anything else that you wanted to see in the game?
Oh my gosh, goblin bomb fishing. That needs to be a thing.
No.
I don't know. I really don't have a whole lot of ideas just because I'm not familiar with a lot of the older games. I'm not familiar with a lot of functionality that other MMOs have to offer. But I'm liking all the ideas that we've kind of come up with, even if some are a little bit more outrageous than others. It's still fun to come up with this stuff.
That's the point.
My crafting idea is completely sane.
No, it's not, Chili. Nothing about you is completely sane.
Well, I'm for anything crafting and gathering related because other than RP, crafting and gathering is my true end game, and I actually am one of those few losers that really likes Triple Triad. And the Triple Triad Battle Hall, when it first came out, it was useless. But then they added tournament matching, which made it not useless, and it was useful. And so any way that they can improve finding other Triple Triad players to play with would be cool. Even though that problem has been largely solved, and I'm pretty satisfied with it now. And I just wish I had more time to play in the tournaments and stuff because I still do that. But most of the things that I want involve the main scenario or wanting to see more of a certain character, or a side character, or even side characters, not just main scenario characters, but more
oh my god,
minor characters, more side quest characters.
Post-Moogle quests.
There are so many minor characters in this game that I love so much and that I want to be developed.
The post-Moogle quests.
Yeah, post-Moogle quests are they're for people that actually really love the story because they didn't really give you any rewards other than
you got that sweet hat.
That was cute.
Also, I think you got the mole minion from the one who was doing the experiments on moles.
Yeah, I mean, some of them were from kind of random side characters, the one about the Curl Claw King and the Keepers of the Moon were not characters you knew before, but you got to learn a little bit about Keeper of the Moon culture and these two sisters. What I want to see is side quests involving job quest NPCs, people we already know that develop them more because there's so many existing minor characters that I want to see more of.
I would totally go with Curious Scourge to do his grocery shopping or something.
I've seen enough of Hammond.
Like two of my favorite characters are the two NPCs from the Bard quest line, and then the Stormblood Bard quest line was so goddamn disappointing that I'm like, oh my god! Like the Heavensward Bard quest line was amazing, 11 out of 10, and the Stormblood one was like 3 out of 10. It was so stupid, like any character development, and it was just this shoehorned back this historical thing about the Autumn War, because everything has to relate to Alamigo now. So they shoehorn the story about the Autumn War, like completely gutted all character development and made it feel like so unsatisfying. I'm like, I can't believe I have to wait for 2 years to hear from these characters some more. No, I want more like Sanson and Gitalo having like bickering old married couple shenanigans.
They're so adorable.
I know, I ship it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I agree with that. It's like, oh, hang on, I totally had the thread and I lost the thread.
Or
this is an interesting thing for filling out the details about the Alamiga and the war and all that. And from that perspective, I like it. But as a story about bards and barddom and things like that, I am not feeling it.
Oh, especially compared to Heavensward, because Heavensward was not only like a great character development story, it was also a rambling, like wandering, like Bard's Tale. Like they would go to random places, meet random people, and have random adventures. And at the end of the quest, it was like, we didn't find the song, but it was about the journey, not the destination. And I'm like, this is a Bard story, literally. Plus, it had great character development. I'm like, this is perfect. To have followed that up with what they had, so fucking disappointing. Like as far as Limsa Lominsa, I love pretty much every minor character in the Limsa Lominsa. I've always wondered, shout out to Muse here. I've always wondered if like Stallman would ever make it back to Limsa after he was exiled.
That
may have happened already, because I haven't finished Machinist. But like something like that, like because he was best friends with Reiner, the head of the Yellow Jackets, and like, but at the same time, like nobody has any idea who I'm talking about. They're like, who? And I'm like, all these minor characters who I love so much, like nobody.
They're the ones who fill it out and give it down.
Yeah, like I want to see more about them. Like the lore book did a really, really good job of like giving a story to virtually every minor character you've ever met. Like enough so that I believe that if someone, because we're all about NPC roleplay, you could take that, even just that one paragraph in the lore book, and make an RP character out of any minor character if you had enough imagination to flesh it out, because it told you about their past and other details that could help you flesh them out, in addition to quest dialogue. You know what I mean? Like they told you about Broswyn. Like I love her because she's like a crazy pirate, and she has this whole like tsundere thing with Carver.
Oh my god,
Lane.
she's so delightful.
I know
that Valentine's quest.
Oh my god, the Valentine's quest in 2014, the greatest thing ever. It was like the definition of tsundere. When you look at tsundere in the dictionary, they should just show you that quest.
See. That's what happened.
Or like,
Helga from Hey Arnold grew up, moved to Limsa Lominsa, and became a pirate queen.
Yeah, or like, I'm kind of a big shipper. I mean, not everybody is into that sort of thing, but like many of the Zayla, like Sato and Magni. Once I realized that Sato and Magni were a thing, and I was like, somebody on this story team has an obsession with tsundere. I swear to God, somebody.
Oh my God, Magni quest.
Somebody on this team has an obsession with tsundere, because there's way too much tsundere in this game.
Oh, Magni quest was the best.
Take something that we got in the MSQ or a side quest and just expand on it, go in a different direction with it. That's my biggest thing, because I'm playing this game for the story.
I have so many feelings right now.
And decorating. Oh, I mean, there's actually a lot of changes that I would like to see to the decorating and housing system, because by now, like, Square Enix should have realized that decorating and housing is a big, big fucking deal. It's still so difficult to place items the way I want them to. They should just take every housing hack that has ever been developed and make it and integrate it into the game so it stops being difficult.
I
They
mean,
need
yeah,
to make
you
the
see-
placement system way, way easier. And they need to make aligning items and centering items with each other. And like, you know, because I'm a graphic designer, so I'm used to like being in a program that's 2D where you can like align things and you have guides and you have centering. And I go into this 3D system and it's just like randomly placing things, and
I mean-
yet I still have the obsession with like having everything perfectly lined up, but it takes me forever, and it like depends on your camera angle, and depends on your character's height and their character model, and like if you're a Lala, it's impossible to place things
But
buff the housing system because it's so popular. It's so popular. Like decorating's so popular that needs an extreme buff, extreme overhaul.
Definitely.
Okay, word in edgewise.
No.
Because like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling this. Like, you see the really gorgeous things people are making, like the modernist architecture, and we're putting a city street inside our mansion. It's like people want to do this stuff. They share this. They get really excited about it. They have contests about it. And they have to do all this with weird glitches and whatnot because it's not actually powerful enough for what people want. It's like, okay, make it powerful enough.
It's like, and you know what they did when people started making lofts and everybody was so obsessed with like, oh, I want to make lofts. What did they do? They patched it. They patched the loft glitch and everybody got really mad because it was a lot harder to now put in lofts.
Well, I think the reason they patched it was because it was putting so much strain on the housing service because people were actually getting outside of the housing.
Yeah, they were like going into the black void beyond the house internal thing. And like, if they could, I think if you could make a loft without that happening, it would probably be okay.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, until they can figure out.
But people are making like obstacle courses out into the inky black void where it's like, your house is now 10 malms below you. You can see it as a dot there. Now climb up another set of pillows.
I think that's fun though. That's a fun little aspect that people have used for like events.
Yeah, it is. Like
it's like absolutely impressive.
It just put too much strain on the servers.
Mm-hmm.
They had to do something about it. So we agree with you. It was fun, but like I said, if it's gonna cause our game to crash, we can't have that.
I would like my decorating sessions to not involve like half an hour of trying to align things perfectly.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah, that definitely I agree with.
I mean, like the fact that people are still making this stuff after having to go through all that, that's testament enough to how much demand there is for it.
Yeah, figure out a way to put it in the game so it doesn't cause the strain on the servers and make it easy to do for people so they can make the housing they want to make. Definitely, I agree. The housing system does need some work.
Yeah, it's
and then add a bunch of.
But...
Yeah, sorry, I'm totally talking over Sarah too much.
No worries. It's like it's good for a first go around, but definitely now that you've seen what people can and want to and will spend hours futzing with this stuff to do, it's like okay, the demand is there. This is something to improve.
All right, and now I think I'm going to go ahead and put a pin in the conversation.
I'll put a pin in you. Wait, what?
You'd like to try?
Yes.
Isn't that like an insult to your own dick size?
I didn't say I was going to fuck him.
When did this turn into that?
But like,
man, what did I zone out into? I'm very
maybe it's like a
yeah,
voodoo
I'm not
thing.
sure either. I'm
not sure. I wasn't
All I know
actually
is
trying
I'm
to self-flirt
tired
with
and the sun
Klaus.
is now up.
Yep, I think let's go ahead. We're gonna go
Oh,
ahead.
holy crap! It's late.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and hold off on the lore segment because we did go very long talking with these lovely ladies. Thank you so much for joining us. We do appreciate it.
Sorry.
No, you know what? You've had quite a few months of pent up podcasting to do. So,
like, oh my god, you just seemed so happy talking about this shit. It was great.
Yeah, we just let you go.
All right.
And
Thank you, then.
I hope you guys had
It's
fun.
fun to talk. We did.
I hope
I did.
I hope everybody listening enjoyed this. It was very different from our normal episodes, but I hope you guys liked it. I had fun. I just like sitting back and listening to you guys just, get back into what you were so, adamant about and enjoying doing in the past. I could just tell, Remix, you're just so happy to be doing it again.
Oh, thank you. I mean, at the same time, I I think Amy might agree with me, but we don't really consider this podcasting. We consider this streaming, and our style of delivery is way different when recording than when we're live. We're a lot more casual on stream, and we allow ourselves to be. But when we're recording, we're like in full-on performance mode. We're a lot more careful with enunciation.
Yeah.
And we don't read off a script, but we read off notes. And we're just a lot more careful. And I think that if you listen to an episode, you'll get an idea of how we speak differently.
Yeah, I've definitely
So
seen
at the
style.
same time, like, I want to get back into that because I'm like, well, this is fun, but this to me isn't podcasting.
There's definitely a difference in style between the extemporaneous ones and the ones where it's definitely a little bit more like prepared, polished. We're going to do a recording, make sure it's this crisp, clear thing. And both are kind of fun, but you can definitely tell a difference between them.
Yeah. Go check them out at musecast.com.
MuseCastXIV.
MuseCastXIV.com is our website. You can also find us on Twitter at MuseCastXIV. And we are on Facebook. If you look up facebook.com/MuseCastXIV is our address for that. And what else do we have here? We are on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. Again, it's a lot different from this sort of show, but honestly, like, I enjoy just being behind the mic. For me, it's regardless of whether or not I'm in performance mode, it's just being behind the mic that kind of gives a sort of thrill. So I consider this, even if it's different from what we may consider podcasting, and or at least how we do podcasting, I guess would be a better way to put it. It's a different way from how we do podcasting.
Oh my gosh, guys, we have so many opinions and things to say, and the world needs to hear them all.
Yeah. So it's a stepping stone. I consider this like a stepping stone. So it's great to be here. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I know Emmy loves behind being the mic. I just love to talk.
No way.
There's so much to say. Like, this is like when I hang out with you, like at FanFest, like it's like, oh my gosh, we just kind of kept feeding off of each other, and it was great.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm just kind of hiding there, being like, I don't know.
I was scared most of FanFest.
Yeah, both of us were. Both of us are like, I think not so much public speakers as remixes and.
All right. So let's just go ahead and continue with the shout outs then. Who did you guys have any other shout outs you wanted to throw out?
Shout out to our listeners. Yes. I don't know how many are actually in here, but for supporting us so long, we're going on 2 years. And for sticking with us throughout our hiatus. We said this in our stream on Maelstrom Radio yesterday as well, but we really, 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 really do love our listeners. So shout out to them.
I love to give out the pink and purple hearts because the pink and purple hearts blue and purple are our colors. So whenever I do the blue and purple hearts, it's like the MuseCast hearts. I like to be the purple one because I'm obsessed with purple. So I mean, do you like blue?
I am too. See,
okay.
No, I like purple.
We both like
purple. I think
purple.
both of us like purple.
Okay.
We like purple.
Okay.
Maybe we should just change our colors to purple and purple. Just two different shades of purple.
Yeah, something, I don't know if we went into this in our first anniversary stream, but I can tell the story behind the logo.
I think we did. I think we did go.
Tell it anyway.
Okay, we'll tell it again tomorrow.
Okay.
Tune in at twitch.tv/MuseCastXIV for that story, guys.
Yes. Yeah. So tomorrow we're going to have our very own stream on our very own channel. It's going to be at 6 p.m., like a sane time for sane grown-ups. We have jobs to go to on Monday, and unlike me, but
I do.
It's going to start a little early, and we'll go as long as we can tolerate as tired people, especially me. But we'll have lots of fun stuff. We may not be able to give away as much stuff as we usually do because we drained all our funds because we paused Patreon during our hiatus because it's just simply not fair to ask that money of our patrons when we're not putting up content. And that was one of the reasons why we didn't have the money to pay for Emi soundproofing. Usually we would just dip into those savings. But she didn't have the extra funds after the move. We didn't have extra funds because we have to pay the monthly bills to keep the lights on so people can still listen at all. So shout out to our donors. Talon Marvelous, or sometimes Tal is Marvelous. You got to tell me which one's correct. He donated, and a mysterious hero from Singapore who like, I don't know, like, do we know this person in real life? I'm like, do you know anyone that Hero Mix? But they also donated. They also donated and helped basically pay for Emi's soundproofing materials. So shout out to those people and all of our patrons who, you know, we respect you so much that like we have refused to take your money if we're not putting out content, because that's just not fair. That's not part of the deal. I have to shout out again to my husband, Glossy Cannon of Gilgamesh, who sometimes helps me water my plants when I'm too tired to get out of bed, and I'll be like, honey, the plants are going to die. It's been 36 hours. Please go water the plants. Please go water the plants. And, you know, highly recommend getting your SO into gaming, or, you know, marrying some, or getting into a life partnership with someone who's a gamer. Get someone who understands you. And maybe one day, maybe even one day, we will start to stream together.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
I'm looking at your Patreon right now.
yeah, it's I may have to repause it again for May. But basically manually every month that we haven't put out something, we just tell Patreon not to charge people their pledges, you know, and until we come back, you know, we're gonna continue to do that. It just you know, makes us pay our own bills.
Yeah.
But you know, that's what happens. You know, it's all labor of love. So all of our listeners, all the people that have stuck with us, anyone who listened to our voice acting skits, we still have a second one to put out, which was much more work heavy on my side, meaning Merweb's side. And we got a friend of ours. It actually drove Merweb and Raubon, and Merweb being drunk, and it's really, really, really good. So I want to do more of that, the radio plays, the voice RP in the future. Shout out to all those people. Shout out to all my free companies on all of my servers. And you know,
Oh my gosh, you must be so thrilled for the cross server link shells that are coming.
yeah, that's gonna be.
I'm not, surprisingly, because my friends list already as it is has had this issue where when it opened up to Cross World Party Finder, or like Cross World Friends List, I now had people trying to get on my friends list from other servers and not just people on Gilgamesh. And my friends list was full, and I was already telling people, sorry, I filter like all the time for inactives and for people who, you know, I don't know very well if I haven't spoken to them for a while. But like,
Scoot is too popular. She has this problem where she's too popular.
FF14 is going to teach.
So the same thing goes for like link shells. It's just going to be the exact same issue.
Well, like FF14 is giving you the opportunity to learn valuable go fuck yourself skills.
Scoot, can I hug you? Because I've always had that issue as well. It's annoying. I'm like, no, I can't add you. I'm already full.
Yes.
Scoot, can I appreciate you from a distance while respecting your personal space?
That is also okay. I'm okay with like people talking to me. I'm okay with all of that. Just, like, it's a little annoying when people, you know, and they don't know much better, but it's just kind of tedious having to tell them so often, like, sorry, I can't do this. You know, sorry, I can't join your link shell. Sorry, I can't.
Boundaries are hard. Like, boundaries are really hard sometimes.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining us. And I think you guys might enjoy the poll results from the which ability would you like to cast on the MuseCast hosts. All
right.
It ended up being 1 vote each for Hallowed Ground, Protect, and Benediction.
Oh
wow!
Apparently, Clemency
Shade
can
thrown
go fuck
at Clemency.
Nothing to Clemency. I'm surprised.
Okay, we're gonna run. We'll find some fun polls to run tomorrow on our birthday party stream. We'll run this again. And actually, one other crazy thing that's going to be going on is that you might know that last year I did a panel at a local anime con here in New York about the FF14 community. And more in general, but definitely focusing on roleplay and how it integrates with other communities. And I will be doing that panel at a couple more cons over the summer. So stay tuned for those announcements. Yeah. Like, I can still do public speaking. Like, you know, even with this illness, it's not like I don't have the, like, you know, like talking for an hour on stage or like doing something like this is not that difficult. You know, it's difficult traveling by subway. You know, it's like, but once I'm in a place, like I'm usually pretty good. I went out today and I had some, you know, a little wooziness, but you know, like I got out of the house and it was pretty rad.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
I mean, I completely crashed afterwards and then it was late for the show, but like, you know.
Yeah.
We'll forgive you this time.
Like, public interaction is hard.
Peopling is hard.
Seriously.
No, it was just it was the local there was a local cherry blossom festival. I wasn't talking to any people. I just had to go and look at the flowers and, you know, look at the weeaboo.
The weeaboo in their natural habitat.
It's not even their natural habitat. Like it's
The
supposed to be a
natural habitat
Japanese
is their mom's
cultural
basement.
the it's supposed to be like a Japanese cultural festival, but at some point like the botanical garden realized, hey, if we invite like anime fans, we'll sell more tickets.
There you go.
So then
Wow.
it just gets overrun with cosplayers.
Yeah.
It makes for
Wow.
some epic photo shoots, though, I bet.
Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure it is.
They have cosplay contests, but I did see one fellow in like you know, a Naruto headband, a T-shirt that was meant to look like Kakashi's vest, holding a parasol with like cheaply drawn, you know, flowers on it. Tell a woman, yeah, I'm really into Japanese culture. I'm really into anime. And as he bought the item he was going to buy, he said, "Arigato," in that voice.
That sounds like a Hancock. That sounds like an example of Hancock if I've ever heard of it.
Oh my
Oh my god, I am cringing so hard it is actually hurting.
Yeah, I was like, you are the perfect. You are like, I use the word weeaboo colloquially, but like, there's a difference between like otaku anime fan and a weeaboo. This guy was a true weeaboo.
Oh,
All
I'm
right.
sad. I'm so sad right now.
Down to the badly pronounced arigato.
Arigato.
Oh no!
All right. Thank you again, guys. We really enjoyed having you on, but we do need to
Except
keep
that
going.
last bit.
What does it hit a little too close to home, Sarah?
God, please, no.
Chili?
If
How
I
about you?
ever do that, please cut me down where I stand.
Chili, what do you have for shout-outs this week? Chili's gone. Never mind.
Chili ran away.
Chili ran away.
I guess with the sun coming up and all.
Yeah. Well, thank you for stopping with us, Chili. Sarah, how about you?
I barely even logged in half the time. Though, shout out to the group that I had at, which one is it? Siren Song C, who, when I messed up on a couple polls as Dark Knight, after making a couple like slightly snarky comments, then actually started giving helpful advice and being nice about things. And thank you for turning what I was worried was going to turn into turning what I thought was going to turn into a really acrimonious run into something that actually ended up being kind of fun and pleasant.
Yay.
Like, I really like it when it's like, it's starting to feel like, hey, everyone might be kind of snappish at each other. And then people manage to just take a deep breath and start being nice and pleasant about things. It's like, yeah, we are all people who are tried here. Like, no one wants to be a bad person. I appreciate that.
Everybody wants to be a bad person.
I don't want to be a bad person.
Yeah, like, I have many problems with your thesis here, Klaus.
I think
Anyway.
maybe it's just Klaus wants to be a bad person.
No.
Oh, well,
I just
you
wanted-
do
I just
you,
wanted
as
to
long as it's not at me.
I just want to disagree with Sarah, that's all.
Oh. I mean, being a contrarian is fun, except if you're being a dick about it.
And I, of course, want to throw a huge shout out to our guests, Remix and Emi. Thank you again. We had a lovely time having you on.
Thank you.
Shout out to Luna. Hope you can be joining us soon. We miss you, and hopefully you are having a very good day. Shout out to Chili, who had to leave early because, you know, for some reason he likes to sleep. I don't know why.
He's asleep at his keyboard right now.
Probably.
Probably.
Still logged into the game.
Someone do the danger bongos.
And shout out to Sarah. Thank you again for putting in all that hard work to try and get the lore segment ready to go, but then we ran long, and now we have to put it off till next show.
Hey, this means that I get to just laze around for the next 2 weeks. This is awesome.
Oh, Chili, Discord crashed. All right. Well, thank you, Chili. We do appreciate having you on as always. You probably want to throw a shout out to Evolve Mail, twitch.tv/Evolve Mail, your girlfriend's favorite streamer, blah, 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 blah. He's not paying me for that, but I figured.
No, he wanted to shout out to Stupid Toot.
He wanted what?
He wanted to shout out to Scoot Patoot.
Shout out to Scoot Patoot, who is
Yeah,
the
it's Scoot
scootiest
Patoot.
Patoot.
That is true.
The
He's
scootiest
also the
Patoot.
cutest Patoot.
But is he the cutest Scoot?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, we just have to make sure we're covering all of our bases here.
All right. Guys, that's going to do it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, almost 3 hours of it.
Oh my god.
Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow us on iTunes, Stitcher, or YouTube, whatever your preferred podcatcher is. Leave us a rating and review if possible as well. It really does help people find our show and lets us know that you guys are enjoying us, or gives us some feedback as to the things that we can do to improve, like maybe not go for 3 hours again.
I'd like to shout out to shout outs because words are hard right now.
Yes.
I'll shout out your face.
All right.
I'll shout out all my podcasts because I'm a whore.
Yeah. To
Woo!
PlayStation Unchained, to the Unnamed Anime Podcast, to
Move around, go Paul.
Yeah, all that good stuff. So
Are you ever going to name that podcast?
No.
that's going to
Okay,
be the running
just checking.
joke, I think.
You're a running joke.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm a joke at running, at least now. But
Ouch. Be nicer to yourself.
well, I just started back running again on Wednesday, and my legs are still sore. Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Windows decided it wanted to restart.
lovely.
Stupid Windows.
If you're really digging the show, please consider subscribing here at Twitch or becoming a Patreon out on patreon.com/PhoenixDownRadio, like our awesome friend Aurori. She is one of our $20 level patrons, and we really thank her for that. All that monetary support goes to help cover things like hosting costs and some of the incidentals. Remix and Emi can definitely understand where a lot of that goes to. It's not
Oh
free.
my god, there's so many random costs.
Yeah, it's not free to run these, but like I said, we do our best to to take care of as much as we can. But your guys' support is definitely helpful. So it also helps to fund the giveaways and some of the subscriber only incentives. See, it's late. I'm having trouble talking too. Anyway, but no, regardless, any kind of support, whether it's emails, likes, tweets, and retweets. It's all greatly appreciated. We just love interacting with you guys and hanging out. So thank you so much for all of your support, is basically what I'm trying to say. So you can find us at PhoenixDownRadio.com. And if you have any questions, comments, or ideas for the show, send us an email, podcast@PhoenixDownRadio.com, or shoot us a message out on Twitter at PHXDNRadio.
I just realized I sassed you with mute on.
That's why we're ending the
that's
show.
kind of where
Chili.
we are right now.
That's
I
why
was
we're
like,
ending the
Klaus, it's late there. Yeah, good work.
show. Oh, quiet you. So for our guests, Remix and Emi from MuseCast, for my co-hosts, Luna Vox, for Chili, and for Sarah Timono, I'm Klaus Nightbringer, wishing everybody a wonderful evening. Thanks again for stopping by. Take care.
Phoenix Down Radio is a production of PhoenixDownRadio.com and Illusion Productions. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are
By
trademarks
the way,
of Square
have you read
Enix.
Twitter?
In-game
Klaus?
content for Phoenix Down Radio is a copyright of Square Enix. Opening music for Phoenix Down Radio is provided by Guilty Gear Rock You. Check out the Metal Chocobo theme cover and many other music videos at youtube.com/Guilty Gear Rock You. Closing music for this episode is provided by Guitar Wanker 90. Please check out their full version of Matoya's Cave and other rock video game covers at youtube.com/Guitar Wanker 90. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of Phoenix Down Radio and its hosts and do not reflect the views of Square Enix.